and in some cases, to embellish.
Oh, heck yeah. The attorneys especially. Can you just fill in the bald spot on the back of my head?
Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
And you can actually see, we got him to do a courtroom sketch, if you will, of Eric and me from Wisconsin's Morning News. Just text the word DRAW, D-R-A-W, the word DRAW to the WTMJ Talk and text line 855-616-1620. We'll send you a link to his work. A bundle of tax cuts introduced by Wisconsin Republicans focused on income, child care, and retirement. UW-Madison's co-director, the Center for Research on the Wisconsin Economy, telling WISC-TV about maintaining Wisconsin's reputation.
So at some level, it's not just trying to get the economic incentives right, but also trying to make sure that we compete with other states in order to make sure that we can attract and retain and provide the right incentives for people to work, save, and live here.
Legislative Fiscal Bureau estimates the average flyer would save about $454, a filer rather. A spokesperson for Governor Tony Evers said the governor will review the proposals. Markets still flirting with record territory in this new year. President and CEO of Annex Wealth Management, Dave Spano, says he doesn't expect interest rates to go down anytime soon, telling WTMJ Now.
I think they got to look at the data, and what we saw last week is a GDP report of 3.3% this past quarter, and that was followed, Steve, by 4.9% the quarter before. So the consumer is still spending, so lowering interest rates to make them spend might be counterintuitive to their goal right now.
Spano said people have been throwing less money into the market as of late. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow Jones Industrial Average at about 38,380. That is up nearly 50 points. The NASDAQ dropping about 125 points to 15,503. And the S&P 500 at 49.19. That is off about 8. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:04.
It's the last resort that comes with a grueling and painful recovery. And from what I've been told, it never really feels quite natural. A total knee replacement may make the pain you're living with eventually go away, but it opens up a Pandora's box of other possible issues. And that's why surgeons who really do care will tell you that it's a last resort. There are other surgeons who cry,
"Replace! Replace!"
But the physicians you'll find at Rejuvenex are primarily concerned with relief. And you may find out that the relief we give you helps so much so that you may not need to get that total knee replacement. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics. Our FDA-approved pain treatments aid inflammation and lubricate your joints. And in most cases, insurance has been shown to cover the costs. At Rejuvenex, we can alleviate your pain, and that'll rejuvenate your life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
With the help of Less's Glass, you can have the shower you've always wanted. Heavy glass shower enclosures from Less's Glass are installed by the best in the business. And when you have a showroom to visit with over a dozen glass shower enclosures on display, there's no guessing games. See the ultimate in frameless shower design with doors mounted on smooth as silk, stainless steel barn-style rollers. This design combines the beauty and elegance of heavy glass with a minimalist look to create an ideal shower enclosure for tight spaces. Premium shower doors and custom-designed all-glass enclosures. When you work with Less's Glass, you're working with a company that really can do it all. This is Stacy Sinks with Less's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking for, you just can't pass on Less's Glass. Less's Glass Service, serving all of southeastern Wisconsin. Find us at lessglassservice.com.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update.
Doc Rivers made his Bucks head coaching debut in Denver on Monday night, but the Nuggets spoiled the night for him as they go on to defeat Milwaukee by a final score of 113-107. Despite the loss, the Bucks' new coach overall pleased with what he saw after one game.
Told our guys, anyone who told you couldn't play defense lied. You proved that tonight. You competed tonight, and they got 15 points off of our turnovers. You take that away, our half-court defense was excellent.
Giannis led the way for the Bucks with 29 points as well as 12 boards. The loss drops Milwaukee now to 32-15 on the season. season. To the NFL, where the Green Bay Packers offseason is underway, and so is their search for their next defensive coordinator. According to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network this morning, the Packers have requested to speak with Ravens secondary coach Denard Wilson for their vacant defensive coordinator job. And lastly, the AP Top 25 poll was released on Monday. Both the Badgers and Marquette ranking in the top 10 in the country. Wisconsin coming in at number 6, and the Golden Eagles are at number 9. They'll get a chance to win game number 5 in a row tonight as well, with a road trip out to Villanova. Tip time set for 6 p.m. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic Report. 41 southbound, border between Milwaukee and Waukesha counties. Traffic just crawling between Silver Spring Drive and Capitol Drive. It's added a couple of minutes to your drive time if you're headed south on 4145 in that part of northern Milwaukee County. Your Storm Team forecast, WTMJ 5-day forecast. Cloudy today, slight chance of some drizzle with flurries maybe mixing in at a high of 40 degrees. Tonight, low down to 33. Wednesday's high 46 degrees after we become mostly sunny. Mild temperatures continue on Thursday with a high of 45 degrees. Decreasing clouds Friday. Friday's high 42, 43 for the high on Saturday under partly cloudy skies. Right now in Madison, 36 degrees and 37 degrees in Green Bay, Waukesha, and Milwaukee. I'm Vince Vitrano, Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 12:09.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now, here's Tracy Johnson.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Great to be with you today on this Tuesday show. Wherever you are joining us from, whether it's your car, in your office, if you're watching on the YouTube or on WTMJ, you can watch live and you can see my huge pile of papers. And please don't judge me if you are, if you don't like people who print on paper, because I've got all the trees taken care of. You can also check out my version of my Stanley mug. I know we talked about the Stanleys a lot during these last couple of weeks. But it's not a Stanley mug. It's my mug, and it says this is probably Tito's. But it's not Tito's. Just so we're clear, this is water. Aaron, who's in the producer booth, watched me pour this. So I feel like I have to clarify something because I haven't mentioned it in a while. For those of you who are new, are just dipping into the station at this time slot, I haven't mentioned in a while that I in my day job, I am the president and CEO for an association of commercial realtors. So if you have listened in and thought, wow, she talks a lot about real estate, she talks a lot about business, and she talks about workforce and policy and, you know, some of these issues that maybe I don't know a lot about, maybe that's what's driving it, is what I do in my free time. Also my kids. And I'll tell you, I've got this on my mind today because it's a special week at school. This week. It's Catholic Schools Week, and my kids go to a Catholic school, and every day is a different day. So yesterday they had to dress up. Today they have to wear sports, and then apparently you were supposed to pay, $2, and then they could get this ice cream. And guess who forgot to do that? Yeah, this kid right here, Mom of the Year, forgot to do that. So I'm a little distracted by that, but it's okay. We're still going to have a great show. We have a packed show. And a couple things we're going to get to later in the show. We're going to talk about striking journalists, protections for judges, and institutional investors impacting the housing market. So in my world in real estate, this is a very, very big topic. Institutional investors in real estate, in housing, rental. Okay, so this is going to be a fascinating topic. We also have a guest today, Rick Barrett. He is the president and CEO for Barrett Low Development. He is the developer of the Couture. That's the new 44-story building right on the lakefront. He's also doing a lot of multifamily work at Southridge Mall and Mayfair Mall. We don't always talk about that, so we're going to have a great conversation with him. So just hitting on some of the sports things that are top of mind. We had a Bucks loss last night. Doc Rivers had his first game, and it was a loss, although everybody's saying that they looked great defensively. So I am hopeful. Also, something that I'm hopeful about and something that I'm really looking forward to is the next game the Bucks have against the Trailblazers. I love these matchups when you have like a former player. So Dame Lillard played for the Trailblazers, right? And so he's going to be back at his former team's floor, And I love these matchups, and I hope he just wipes the floor. Like, I think it's going to be an awesome game. But I want to start here. And I'm sorry, this is going to be a little bit of a serious topic. And if you want to weigh in, please feel free, 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. What they always tell you is start with the thing that fires you up. And this is where I am today. It's not in our backyard. It's not in the next state, but it's on the other side of the world. And it's impacting all of us, I believe, at our core. And that is the recent attack on our military that happened overseas. So just a little bit of background, and this is from the article in the Wall Street Journal. The U.S. failed to stop a deadly attack on an American military outpost in Jordan when the enemy drone approached its target at the same time a U.S. drone was also returning to base. This, according to officials on Monday. The return of the U.S. drone led to some confusion over whether an incoming drone was friend or foe. Officials have concluded so far, though, that they caution the inquiry into the attack was in an early stage. So what happened is in Jordan, we had U.S. soldiers who were there as a result since the Hamas-Israel war started, and there was a drone that was returning to the base, and there was also an enemy drone, and it ended up killing 3 U.S. troops and wounded 40 more. And I'm reading this story, and this was Sunday, okay? And you're following the headlines, you're reading the headlines. Sunday's attack really has signaled this escalation in hostilities against our U.S. forces happening overseas. And what I'm extremely troubled by is the fact that we have seen no action. We have heard our president say that there will be a significant military response against pro-Iranian militias who are at the root of this attack, who have taken responsibility for this attack. But we have seen nothing. And, what I'm seeing is that our foes are looking upon this and saying, wow, they're doing nothing. We just killed 3 people, 3 U.S. soldiers, and they did nothing. Look at that. Isn't this great? Like, let's see what else we can do. Let's see what else we can do. These people are clearly not serious in the United States. And you know who I feel sorry for? And you know what really troubles me and why I'm so worked up about this is that we have our military is over there. Our soldiers are over there trying to protect our country, and we have no leadership right now. These terrorists look upon the United States and they say they can't even close their border. They can't even enforce the laws. Terrified as a mom with 2 young kids, as a citizen of the United States, a law-abiding citizen, we should expect our leaders to be addressing the nation at a minimum. Tell us what's happening. I saw an article that suggested one of the soldiers who was killed hadn't even been contacted by the president. This person gave their life and they got nothing. Nothing. This was 2 days ago. And here's the deal. I'm not saying we should go into a war. I'm not saying we need to escalate this further, but we need to project some sort of strength to our foes, or they are going to continue to take and take and take and take. And we're starting to see this more and more. And I can't imagine being based over in Jordan or Iran or Iraq or Syria or any of these places. And I feel like what's missing, and I think it's been very well documented, is just leadership. And we've got this vacuum right now at the top. No leadership to close the borders, enforce the laws, to show some strength, project some strength overseas. And it's going to just continue to be a domino. And we are supposed to be the world power. And we just are not living up to our name. It's striking and it's frightening. And, I don't know where we go from here. I am not the one who's going to make the rules. I know people say, oh, well, this is Congress, or, oh, this is the infighting and the politics. But it goes far beyond that. 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. Where is our leadership here? And, we can't be pointing fingers. This is beyond politics. Strength solves a lot of issues at home and abroad, and we can't be passing the blame. So I do hope that we continue to see development and that we do take thoughtful action. Because I'm not the type where you just do a knee-jerk reaction. This has to be thoughtful. But we've known this is coming. There were 150 attacks before this. What were you doing? What were you planning? We could have predicted this. We could have seen this coming. So this continues to develop. I mean, right now, we've just got a lot of issues. We've got a lot of people pointing fingers and nobody quite taking the blame. All right. When we come back, we'll lighten it up a little bit. But if you want to weigh in, 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. This is also going to be about President Biden. But there's a lawsuit right now in Wisconsin. You're going to want to hear about that when we come back.
What you need to know on your drive home. Wisconsin's Afternoon News with John McCure.
These vending machines have things like fentanyl test strips, Narcan, gun locks. How effective have they been?
The numbers are really staggering of how much of these supplies have gotten out in the community.
And Greg Matzik.
Mary, you talked to so many people. I'll ask you this final question. Who killed your cousin?
It's been widely believed that Frank Balistrieri ordered my cousin's murder for several reasons.
3 to 6 p.m. here on WTMJ.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Outdoor living is a cherished experience here, especially in the warm season. Outdoor Living Unlimited is a local family-owned company that will revolutionize outdoor living at your home. Visualize your home and yard with an in-ground pool, screen room, pergola, patio, pavers, deck, even an outdoor kitchen. Get with Outdoor Living Unlimited and put that dream into action. The honest, reliable artists and craftsmen will be honored to work with you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Dan, what do you think are the top 3 reasons people buy from us at Inspired Closets?
Katie, that's easy. Our 3D design software, 4 ironclad guarantees, and our lifetime warranty.
Plus, we're honest and transparent in our pricing. We don't over-design. And we're a local family-owned business.
Clients need to know that we are a different closet company. We are designed completely around them.
And we're a wife and husband team.
Visit us at inspiredclosetsmke.com.
Welcome back on WTMJ. I had to get that off my chest. Just frustrated, Got a couple of texters say, you need a little patience, Tracy. Whoa, the text line keeps jumping around here. Need a little patience. I'm floored that you were complaining about the speed and the response in the attack in Jordan. It's been 2 days. A response will come. And so I do hope that a response will come. I hope that we can calm the nation as well. I think you've got a lot of people saying that he doesn't know what he's doing. All right. That's my concern, is that we just don't have leadership. If he handles this attack and what's happening overseas the way that he has handled what is happening inside the borders of the United States of America, we are in for some big time problems. And that's what has me concerned. I'm done saying that this is Congress's responsibility and in it. We got laws on the books, and those need to be followed. And in a vacuum, in a leadership vacuum, other people will rise up or chaos will ensue. And that's what I'm afraid of. At least call the families of the soldiers who gave their lives. I mean, that's what I would like to see. When I was talking about this with some of my friends, one of the issues, because we talk about this, right? It's a concern and everybody's kind of got their perspective. Some people say, the military, why would they want to be over? They're struggling to get people to serve in the military because they don't sense that there's strength from our leadership, or they sense that there's chaos, or they sense that there's so much politicization. And so, we could have solved for this by showing some strength at another point in time. The other thing that I think is troubling to a lot of people is that we're trying to play all sides. And I understand diplomacy is important. Right? We have to, stand with our allies. We have to help the people who are victimized, especially as we're talking about what's happening in Israel and Gaza and with the Palestinians and all of that. There are lots of sides to that story and lots of empathy to go around and lots of diplomacy that needs to be employed here. But when there is no leadership and you are trying to make everybody happy, what happens is you make nobody happy. And that is that is why leadership is hard. That is why leadership is very difficult. That is why there is only one president in the United States. And right now, I think what is concerning is just that we just aren't seeing it. And so this is concerning to me, and I think it's concerning to a lot of people. What are we going to see here? Are we going to get into a full-blown war? I don't think anybody really wants that, but I will have patience and I will trust the system. It's very difficult, especially at a time when we've seen so much dropping the ball. So, turning now to this issue, I read this out of the Madison paper, and it has to do with the ballot, the presidential primary ballot. And for those of you who are, I'm just going to talk to those on the Dem side, okay? On the Democrat side of the ticket, you will have one choice in your selection for president. And I thought this was very interesting because one of the other candidates who's running is a gentleman by the name of Dean Phillips, and he is a congressman out of Minnesota. He shone very well in New Hampshire. I think he got 20% of the vote. When I say really well, that was by his standards. He was saying, I'm going to go into New Hampshire and hopefully I get 20%. But he's been trying to get on the ballot in these states around the country, and he did not make it onto Wisconsin's ballot. So the story reads like this. Wisconsin's Presidential Preference Selection Committee approved a primary ballot that includes Republican Donald Trump, but not Democrat Dean Phillips. Phillips, like I said, is a Minnesota congressman, and Marianne Williamson is a self-help author. Those two they'll be on the ballot in the primaries for New Hampshire and South Carolina, but state Democrat chair for Wisconsin, Ben Wickler, who I know has been on Steve's show, only proposed President Joe Biden's name for his party's primary during the committee meeting that happened a few weeks ago. He noted in a statement that the party has endorsed Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris for re-election. The state law gives the Presidential Preference Selection Committee the sole power to place candidates on the primary ballot for parties that received at least 10% of the vote in the most recent election. Only the Dem and Republican parties met that mark this year. The statutes also call for the committee to determine the candidates are generally advocated or recognized by the news media. The committee is made up by Dem and GOP appointees, approved without discussion the lists of candidates submitted by the state party chairs during this selection committee meeting. So basically what they're saying is, we've endorsed Joe Biden, and so he's the only person that's going to be on the ticket. And so Dean Phillips is suing the state of Wisconsin so that he may appear on the April 2nd ballot. But in order to do that, he's got a really strict deadline, and this is why this is kind of timely here. He must collect 8,000 signatures from Wisconsinites by today. At least 1,000 and no more than 1,500 signatures would have to come from qualified electors in each of the state's 8 congressional districts. So he'd have to go all around the state and get these signatures from constituents or from voters. So I'm not sure if he's going to meet that bar. I think that's probably why he put forth this lawsuit. But you should also know that on the GOP side, there was no, what we have is the 6 Republican candidates. Chris Christie will be on the ballot, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Asa Hutchinson, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Donald Trump. So most of those guys dropped out already, but nevertheless, there was no drama in that regard. Although, wait a minute, there was drama because there is a lawsuit now being filed to get President Trump off the ballot. So I don't know where that stands right now, but I do find it interesting that we have this discussion going on the Democrat side that really won't allow there to be a choice. And I understand that every party has its processes and has its procedures, but I think that we're seeing at least many voters are thinking that they want to have a choice. You know, they may be all in for President Biden, but isn't it worth having that discussion? We say that about having 2 candidates or 3 candidates on the Republican side too. It's like we want to be able to have this debate of ideas. Now, if you look into this candidate, Dean Phillips, I happened to hear a podcast with him, and there's a woman named Barry Weiss. She has a podcast called Honestly. It's fascinating. And she interviewed this Dean Phillips, and he's a Democrat. He votes with President Biden on everything. He just thinks that he wants to see the party move to a younger candidate. And so it's just really interesting how he positions himself and how he positions himself as a candidate and how he positions himself as another choice. So it's not so much like we have on the Republican side with these very, very different ideas. It's more about who can really take our country forward. So very interesting discussion, and we'll continue to follow that. We might have news on that, though, in the next day or so because that deadline is today. All right. More when we come back. It's 12:29 on WTMJ.
Wisconsin's Morning News.
You think my guy's going to be back out on his moped?
Listen to Vince Vitrano every weekday starting at 6 a.m.
And so I'm on this ramp, and in front of me is this dude on...
It's a moped, man.
You think
it's a moped? That's what it is, yeah.
It certainly looked like an e-bike to me.
It was well short of a
like
motorcycle, I'll tell you that.
I got to ask you, Vince, did you feel a weird sense of responsibility? I got to protect this guy because he's obviously...
No, I just thought it was funny.
Only here on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
Brewers win! Get more from your live baseball experience with the 2024 Brewers Ticket Plan. On sale now. Don't miss more exclusive Brewers season seat holder rewards, like your very own batting practice session, more can't-miss action, and more access to the game you love. It's your ticket to being a VIP Brewers fan this season. Plus, you'll enjoy savings on ticket prices you can't get anywhere else. Learn more at brewers.com/ticket plans.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi!
Losing sleep lately? The job, the house, the headlines, or investments? How about the feeling your investment partner isn't a partner at all? They might be operating in someone's best interest, but that someone isn't you. It's time for Annex Wealth Management. It's easy. Head to annexwealth.com, click the Get Started button. We work in your best interest as a fiduciary. That commitment runs so deep, we put it in writing. Does your advisor do that? Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Start at annexwealth.com.
Great to be with you on this Tuesday. Thanks for listening in. Thanks for texting in. Just going back and forth with Aaron. That first topic, man, I took a stand. I said, where is our leadership And people responded. I think they heard me say we should go to war, and that is not what I said. But I understand. People hear what they want to hear, and that's okay. Thank you for responding, and I did respond kindly back. So thank you for listening. I just hope we see more information develop over the next coming days, because this just is reaching a fever pitch. So I want to switch to this kind of along the same lines, and it has to do with elected leaders and how much I respect elected leaders, even though I just spent some time kind of saying we need leadership at the top. I do think that running for elected office is a very, very noble task. All right. It's something that 99.999% of us would never do, including myself. Not only is it time consuming, it's thankless if you ask most people. And often you have a lot of people in business that get burned out with the bureaucracy. Because a lot of these elected positions, and I'm talking about all elected positions, okay, they require you to take a position. They require you to spend a lot of time on issues. They require you to listen to constituents, about matters. You have to balance not only doing what's right and doing the right thing, but also considering your longevity and electability. And a lot of politicians say, I can't do this anymore because when I want to do the right thing, it's not always the popular thing. And so it's tough. I understand it and I see it. And I work with a lot of people in this elected space. Heck, I volunteer on a community board with elected leaders. And I'm like, how can you do this? It's very, very, very noble work. So here's the deal though. You have to make tough decisions. And depending on what level you're at, depends on the type of decisions you're making. Now, at a local level, you might be talking about zoning. You might be approving a project. You might be, voting on a budget. You might be tearing down a building. But on a state level, you might be making decisions on gun bans. You might be making decisions on abortion. You might be making decisions on any number of controversial issues. And it brings to question an elected's ability to make those tough decisions in the type of environment that we live in right now, which is where people might feel threatened to make those decisions for which they are elected to make because of fear for that safety. I found this article in The Guardian, and it goes on to say that tens of thousands of legislators and elected local officials are avoiding hot-button policy issues such as abortion and gun control because they're fearful of the backlash of intimidating abuse, a new report has found. A major survey by the Brennan Center for Justice released on Thursday warned that the spate of extremist intimidation that we've seen nationally is also sweeping local and state politics. So in the fallout, elected individuals are limiting their interactions and constituents and narrowing their contentious topics they are prepared to take on. Some are even contemplating quitting public life altogether. Such chilling of public discourse poses a threat to the functioning of representative democracy at every level of government, this study concludes. The center conducted a survey of 350 state legislators and more than 1,300 local office holders working in towns, municipalities, and county government. And it found that 40% of state lawmakers had experienced threats or attacks in the past 3 years, while almost 1 in 5 local officials faced the same abuse in 18 months. Now, I can go on, but you get the point. These elected leaders feel like they are being attacked or that they are being targeted. The abuse is often directly related to the policy positions that elected individuals have adopted over contentious issues, including gun control and abortion. And I would argue in this state, education. Education is one that brings out people with their pitchforks. And in turn, what this study suggests is that it's having a withering impact on our government, our democratic process. So, is this where we're at in our society? And sometimes I have to take a step back and say, well, maybe this is why we can't talk about these issues is because we get so polarized, and that we don't have these elected officials taking a stand and making policy position is because they feel like they can't. So when you're elected to office, I would argue that any state representative, they didn't get in there to be a single issue voter or to make a stand on just one issue. When you're in the state legislature, for example, you're talking about tax policy, you're talking about road funding, you are making decisions on healthcare and education, guns, abortion. You're either responding to them or you're avoiding them. And I think we want our elected officials to help represent voters and represent their positions at a state level. This is what they're voted in to do. And if they're feeling threatened at every turn, if we allow them to feel threatened at every turn, if we allow this to go on in our society, we're not going to be able to make decisions on any of these issues. I mean, the three that I just pointed out, the two that are pointed out in this article are two of the most contentious issues. We can barely talk about this amongst disagreeable friends. Abortion and gun control. You're either on this side or you're on that side. And I see it on the text line too. You know, if I'm on one side of it, it's insane that people should feel threatened, especially elected leaders who aren't making a ton of money to represent their constituents, that they would feel like they are in harm's way. So it seems to be a sad state of affairs. And, you know, when it comes to electeds, I don't know what the answer is. All right. But what we do have right now at a state level is some legislation that's moving through to protect our judges. It's actually called a judicial security package. So in the past year, it has documented that there's been about 142 threats against Wisconsin judges, according to the Wisconsin Supreme Court Marshal's Office. Now, there is a bipartisan group of state lawmakers that's working on a package of bills that would limit access to the judge's personal information. And this would be in an attempt to protect them, to allow them to make decisions on some of these very controversial issues. I mean, we've seen it. We're nipping around the edges on some of these things like gerrymandering. Well, I'm not even nipping around the edges. Abortion, it's right before the Supreme Court. And so these elected judges, because we elect our judges, not every state does that, are feeling threatened. And so there's a piece of legislation. I just want to read one more point. In 2022, a retired Juneau County Circuit Court Judge, John Reamer, okay, you probably remember this. This was just 2 years ago. He was zip-tied to a chair in his home and executed. Police said the 56-year-old man who had been sent to prison by Reamer more than a decade earlier was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound in the judge's house. So he executed this judge for the decision that he made. And what we're trying to do now is protect our elected judges. And I wonder if this could go on to protect our elected officials so that their information is not shared publicly. Now, what a sad state of affairs, but also an attack kind of on that transparency. When you're an elected official, you are one of the people. You are one of the voters. You are amongst the people who have gotten you to that position. And that is the way that it's supposed to be. So is this a good idea? Should we be protecting our judges and our elected officials? 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. You can talk, you can text, you can let me know what you think about this. Is this a good idea to move this forward? Yeah, there's an expense. This is going to cost us money. But this might be why we can't have nice things, is because we don't know how to treat each other well. Or there are some people that just can't have a civil conversation. 855-616-1620 on the WTMJ talk and text line. Is this a good idea to keep these judges and elected officials' information private? Should we be providing security for these individuals so that they can make the tough decisions that need to be made for our state? More when we come back. It's 1242 on WTMJ.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
One day, a 3.5 to 3.9% real estate commission structure will be commonplace. But for now, it's not the case. So you can pay 6% for what we can do for about half that, or you can pay less for full service. For some, it's hard to believe, but for our customers, they know it to be true. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, and our agents understand the meaning of great customer service. And you'll see they're the cream of the crop. So don't pay more than you have to. Pay less for full service with Benefit Realty. Benefit-realty.com. The reviews are in, and folks seem to like how we do business. And what's more, they can't get over the level of service and real estate expertise they get for far less than what they'd pay an agent from a big-name company. At 3.5 to 3.9%, you'll save up to nearly 50% in commission by choosing a Benefit Realty full-service agent. Everything they do, we do, for up to 50% less. There's no catch. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. See our success stories at benefit-realty.com. Welcome back on WTMJ. It's kind of a happy song for a tough topic. We're talking about protecting our elected officials in light of just some legislation being proposed. And I do think that we will see this move through to protect our judges, at least at the state level, from having their information shared publicly, just for fear of retribution, fear for their safety, fear for their lives, making the tough decisions that need to be made. And we're pointing to some statistics about elected leaders just being fearful of making tough decisions making decisions on tough issues that really need to be discussed. And hopefully, just like on a local level, a municipal level, state level, and a national level, leadership is hard. And, I feel sad that we have to be in a position where we need to be hiring security for these people and worrying about their safety from others. So my bottom line here, elected officials, this is noble work. They do the work that we ask them to do, and it is work that not many other people would do. So we'll continue to follow this legislation, but I do think that this will be passed into law. All right, we'll be back with more on 1245 on WTMJ.
I had a really strange experience today.
Strange how?
A man walked into the store who was only about 2.5 feet tall.
What?
And he was carrying a bow and arrows.
Did he sort of have a baby face?
Yes. How did you know?
Sarah, that was Cupid.
Oh!
Did he give us a thumbs up?
Yes, 3 times.
So tell us, what are the Cupid-approved gifts for Valentine's 2024?
He loved our diamond stud earrings starting at $198.
We have 186 different styles and sizes.
And we have more than 1,400 pair in stock.
And Cupid loved our $98 diamond pendant.
It looks like it's worth a lot more.
And every purchase of $298 or more includes a fabulous free travel case to safely transport all of your jewelry.
But mostly, he loved the 4-carat total weight wow diamond engagement ring for less than $4,000.
Welcome to Kessler's for Valentine's Day.
Cupid approved.
Find the Kesslers nearest you at KesslersDiamonds.com.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
Is it time to give your home a new look?
Absolutely.
Get personal care from Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling has a design team ready to help with all flooring and remodeling needs, including tub to shower conversions. Want to create your dream kitchen, including cabinets? How about the rec room? Adair Floors and Remodeling has been family run in Franklin for over 65 years. For floors and all home remodeling needs, get personal care from Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling, South 27th Street in Franklin, and online at adairfloors.com.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Chris and Tim closed their first loan with Accunet $116,000 ago in terms of the median sales price in southeastern Wisconsin. We helped their daughter buy a home earlier this year, and now we're helping them buy their retirement condo. We're told there were 3 offers, 2 cash offers, and Chris and Tim's offer backed up by an Accunet rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. All 3 offers were probably over the asking price, but we're surmising Chris and Tim's offer was the highest because when the sellers asked the listing broker if they could count on the offer with the pre-approval letter, the answer was simply, Accunet really does their homework. It's not easy to beat a cash offer over the asking price, but that's exactly what Tim and Chris did with some help from their trusted family mortgage lender. If you don't think the lender's name on your pre-approval letter matters, think again. It's still a seller's market in the Badger State, so click on the blue button at Accunet.com today to get started with your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval. That's ACCUNET.com.
Great to be with you on this Tuesday. We're spending the first hour here talking about elected officials and talking about being in government. Man, it is hard work. I just want to move to the text line here. It is funny as I was talking about where's our president. He was actually addressing the nation. He made a comment. He said, "We have decided what we're going to do, and so we are going to wait and see what happens." I will tell you from my read on this text line, people don't want another war. And they're very, very worried about that. And one texter says, I wish we would look at why these people hate us and start there. It seems that bombs have never really solved anything. And, it's interesting. I have a couple takes on that. And I think, there's probably a lot of historical hate. I mean, it's the Middle East. We have been at quote unquote war for a long time. And we've inserted ourselves, I think, in a lot of ways. Sometimes we need to, and sometimes needlessly. This is such a tough issue at home. And, even though we have such strong American pride, I think there are a lot of different angles and people, a lot of people in the United States say this is our fault that we are being bombed or that we are being targeted or that the world hates us. I don't agree with that necessarily. I'm always a fan of trying to seek to understand. But I don't necessarily agree with it. I do think that projecting strength on a global stage is something that we need to do. I mean, we fear those leaders who do that broadly. So this is another one of those really, really tough issues to pick apart. A lot of people don't want to see the United States engaged in another war, and who knows how this is going to happen. I think we will see more of that develop throughout the day. President Biden did make a comment that they have decided what to do. So again, we shall see. Okay, moving to the last topic. I want to read a couple of texts here. Should we be paying for protection of our judges? From the 414, no taxpayer money should be spent on protecting judges, period. Okay, from the 608, it seems to me that for a long time now that the judges in Milwaukee have been protecting themselves from being harmed by handing out the lightest sentences that they can think of. I think there are a lot of people that would agree with that sentiment. It's tough to give these decisions. There's always gray. And I mean, we didn't talk about the Slenderman case, and I wasn't planning on talking about it, but that's another example where you see these 2 young girls who attack their friend, and left her for dead. This was 10 years ago. Well, one of the girls, Morgan Wire, I think, and I'm doing this from memory, she was on trial yesterday trying to be released from her mental care. And she was trying to make the case 10 years after this event had happened. And, it sounds like they're trying to find a way to make sure that she can go back out into the world 10 years after she committed this horrible, horrible crime. The goal of these institutions is to get these people back out. So, okay, that was kind of a digression here. But bottom line, on the 920, I agree that elected officials should have protection. However, we have to make sure that protection does not mean an accessibility to speak with or meet with the elected officials is publicly or in their office. So, yeah, lots of tangents on this issue. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, I wish I could just wave a magic wand, or if I could say something and everybody would be nice to each other and we'd be able to solve for these tough issues. But this is the place that we're in. Okay, I wanted to mention this just as we're talking about being an elected position. Yesterday, when I left the studio, I received a phone call, and it was just a 414 number. And I picked up the phone, and it was a gentleman who was running for office. And I thought, wow, how did he get my number? But he got my number, and he was like, okay, I'm running for this office, and I want to talk to you. Do you have a minute? He was very polite, and he explained his position, and he said why he was running, and why he would be the best candidate. And he didn't really say I'm better than this other candidate. He just really put himself in a position of like, this is why I'm going to be successful. And he asked me some questions, and it was a really great conversation. And it was somebody, again, a candidate running for a position who took the time to make a call, to talk to a constituent. Here's the deal. I can't vote for this person. But I can be an advocate for this person. I can also give money to this person, which at the end of the day, he did ask for money. But I was just impressed that he took the time to make the call, right? I mean, in so many instances, we're getting emails, or we're getting flyers, or we're getting these blast text messages. And this candidate, I think really, really stood out. He's running for deputy comptroller for the city of Milwaukee. This is a position that is being vacated by the person currently holding that position. But anyway, it just, there are still good people out there who want to run for office, who want to do the tough work. And I commend them. Heck, I might give this guy $50 just for taking the time and asking the questions. So anyway, there are good people out there. All right. When we return, the printing industry is certainly an evolving industry. The media industry is certainly evolving. And we've seen over the last couple weeks a number of media institutions, media agencies, print agencies that have run into some turmoil. We saw Sports Illustrated just announce mass layoffs. We saw the LA Times go out on strike. We've seen writers striking in New York. And it just seems to be in this kind of crazy state of flux and turmoil. And I want to have a discussion about that with you, about what's going on in this industry, and talk about the people who are taking this stance, the people who are journalists in our society, trying to portray the news, portray a position, and share that with all of us, and kind of what they're up against and why, when we return. But right now, it's 12:56. I'm Tracy Johnson on WTMJ.
Oh, I'm already running late. Let's go.
There is a backup on I-94 eastbound.
Wait, is that Debbie Lazaga?
Expect delays.
Well, how bad is it?
Alternate routes will help you in your journey.
I feel better.
Get where you need to go calmly with traffic reporter Debbie Lazaga, only on News Radio WTMJ.
Follow me on social.
Hey, John Mercure here. I'm going on an incredible trip to southern Italy and Sicily. My wife and I would love for you to come with us. October 2024, what an itinerary. A full week in breathtaking Sicily, the stunning seaside towns with their cobblestone piazzas, UNESCO World Heritage Sites, the breathtaking Amalfi Coast and Sorrento, taking the deep blue hues of the Mediterranean, sailing to Positano, plus visit historic Pompeii. Won't you come with us? Let me send you information on this great trip. It's john.mercure@WTMJ.com. john.mercure@WTMJ.com. Lots of food, great wine, time for shopping. It's Incredible Italy next fall. I'll send you one of our beautiful brochures if you send me an email. john.mercure@WTMJ.com. We'll also be adding on Rome. I love Rome. Come with us, won't you? October 2024, Incredible Italy. Breathtaking and stunning. John.Mercure, MERCURE at WTMJ.com.
Come away with me.
With Social Security, the longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team of advisors at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help you decide on the best decision for you and your situation. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Our experienced team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. I'd love to get you our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides such as the Social Security decision. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
There is, in principle, no empty spaces. Something is going to fill you. It could be bitterness, resentment, detachment, despair, or something else. Nature hates a vacuum. But God died for the love of sinners and lives to fill all creation.
The physics of forgiveness this week on The Lutheran Hour.
The Lutheran Hour, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on WTMJ.
Another MVP has joined the roster at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, Dr. Michael Nolte. Expertscape recently named him part of the top 1% of spine expertise in the world. Dr. Nolte has published over 50 peer-reviewed articles in leading scientific journals and authored more than 100 national presentations. They added this MVP specialist for orthopedic, neurosurgical, and spine care because at Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. The place to get caught up, to speak out, to connect and be entertained. We are Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 1 o'clock, it's 37 degrees, cloudy, slight chance of drizzle or flurries, the high of 40. Mostly cloudy tonight with a low of 33. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Greg Matzik. President Biden meeting with his national security team to weigh options on how to respond after 3 service members were killed and dozens hurt in a drone strike at a base in Jordan. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers.
President Biden said Tuesday he has decided how the U.S. will respond to the drone attack in Jordan that killed 3 American soldiers. Asked if he holds Iran responsible for the deaths, the president said,
I do hold them responsible in the sense that they're supplying the weapons to the people who did it.
The president reiterated the U.S. does not want a wider war in the Middle East.
That's not what I'm looking for.
Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Decision Wisconsin, a Democratic presidential hopeful is appealing to the Wisconsin Supreme Court for inclusion on the state's presidential primary ballot in April.
Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips has asked the court to order the State Elections Commission to add him to the list of certified candidates on the primary ballot. Phillips is the only Democrat in elected office who is currently challenging incumbent President Joe Biden. The court has given the Wisconsin Presidential Preference Selection Committee and the State Elections Commission until Wednesday to respond. Phillips wants a ruling on the case by February 9th in order to avoid any conflicts with deadlines for distributing absentee ballots ahead of the April primary. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Meanwhile, Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson says he wants to get rid of the blight before deciding what should replace the former Northridge Mall site. The city now has ownership and the ability to begin the process of tearing down the former mall. Johnson tells WTMJ's Vince Vitrano why the city turned down a developer who had offered to purchase the property last year.
We owe it to the people who live there, who have dealt with this for 20 plus years, to look at what all the possibilities are
and not just simply take the first thing that comes up.
Johnson making his comments on Monday during an event hosted by the Walker Media Agency in Milwaukee. A man accused of stealing 2 police cars will be in court today. 34-year-old Daniel Barton was arrested by Shorewood police last May for stealing a police squad car. He later admitted to the theft and in December of 22 was arrested by Milwaukee police for stealing one of their squad cars. Barton being charged with 2 misdemeanors and a max fine of $10,000 and or 9 months of jail time for each of the thefts. And the market's still flirting with record territory in the new year. President and CEO of Annex Wealth Management, Dave Spano, says he doesn't expect interest rates to go down anytime soon, telling WTMJ Now.
I think they got to look at the data, and what we saw last week is a GDP report of 3.3% this past quarter, and that was followed, Steve, by 4.9% the quarter before. So the consumer is still spending, so lowering interest rates to make them spend might be counterintuitive to their goal right now.
Spano says people have been throwing less money into the market as of late. Speaking of the markets, time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed bag on the indices today with the Dow up about 93 points at 38,428. The NASDAQ down about 124 points at 15,504. And the S&P about in the middle, down about 4.5 points at 49,2319. News sponsored by Annex Wealth Management's Money Talk here at Saturdays at 10 on WTMJ. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Siding Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 1:03.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why, through the end of February, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 13 years, Adam has provided more than 2.4 million meals to people in southeastern Wisconsin. And now, the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
Brewers win! Get more from your live baseball experience with the 2024 Brewers Ticket Plan. On sale now. Don't miss more exclusive Brewers season seat holder rewards, like your very own batting practice session, more can't-miss action, and more access to the game you love. It's your ticket to being a VIP Brewers fan this season. Plus, you'll enjoy savings on ticket prices you can't get anywhere else. Learn more at brewers.com/ticket plans.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone. Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations. Brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp. And new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
Doc Rivers made his Bucs head coaching debut in Denver on Monday night, but the Nuggets spoiled the night for him as they go on to defeat Milwaukee by a final score of 113-107. Despite the loss, the Bucs' new coach overall pleased with what he saw after one game.
Told our guys, anyone who told you couldn't play defense lied. You proved that tonight. You competed tonight, and they got 15 points off of our turnovers. If you take that away, our half-court defense was excellent.
Giannis led the way for the Bucs with 29 points as well as 12 boards. The loss drops Milwaukee now to 32-15 on the season. To the NFL, where the Green Bay Packers offseason is underway, and so is their search for their next defensive coordinator. According to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network this morning, the Packers have requested to speak with Ravens secondary coach Denard Wilson for their vacant defensive coordinator job. And lastly, the AP Top 25 poll was released on Monday. Both the Badgers and Marquette ranking in the top 10 in the country. Wisconsin coming in at number 6, and the Golden Eagles are at number 9. They'll get a chance to win game number 5 in a row tonight as well with a road trip out to Villanova. Tip time set for 6 p.m. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Time for a look at your roads at Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic Update. It's an absolute slog, 43 southbound, Brown Deer to downtown, normally an 11-minute ride. typically about 15 minutes during the construction period, which is ongoing. It's going to run you 19 today due to issues, and it really gets snarly around Good Hope Road as you travel south toward Bayshore. So be cautious there. 43 southbound Brown Deer to downtown. If you're around Brown Deer, you might want to get off. As you approach Good Hope, things really start slowing down as you head into the downtown area. Otherwise, looking at standard travel times across the system this afternoon. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast, a slight chance of drizzle or flurries the rest of the day. Will top out at 40 degrees, an overnight low of 33 under mostly cloudy skies. Wednesday, mostly sunny and mild with a high of 46. Thursday, mostly cloudy and mild with a high of 45 degrees. In Madison, it's 37. Green Bay, 38. In Waukesha, 36. It's 37 at the Avenue. I'm Greg Matzik. Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 1:07.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now, here's Tracy Johnson.
Welcome back. On WTMJ, it's 1:08 on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Boy, that was a fun hour there. A little more serious than I'm used to, but we got a lot of good response. I think people are kind of paying attention, right? In the middle of the week, this is like as we look at how people's attention is, I feel like midweek, especially Wednesday, is just peak like seriousness. You know, I work in the commercial real estate space, and we talk about office, back to office. When are people doing their meetings and things like that? It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is when people are really active, and especially too these last few weeks filling in here. You notice kind of the arc of the week, of the news week. Monday, you've got the flurry from all the Sunday news and whatever was dropped on Friday, and then it kind of develops and develops throughout the week. And so, Wednesday is peak news. So tomorrow, it's going to be an awesome show tomorrow. So pay attention to that, just like it is an awesome show today. All right. I want to turn to this now because there's a couple kind of components to this that are fascinating to me. First of all, it has to do with journalists. All right. I was a journalism major, switched to a public relations major. So journalism is kind of something that I follow. It follows industry. It follows what's happening with all these strikes. This is something that we've been following for the last year and a half. And it kind of combines them all together. So the story reads that journalists at New York Daily News and Forbes last week walked off the job amid a contentious contract talk with management and a difficult few weeks in the news industry. Both strikes are historic. It's the first time ever at the Business Focus magazine in more than a century, and the first at the storied newspaper in more than 3 decades, according to News Guild of New York. The one-day strike at the Daily News coincides with Forbes' walkout, which ran through yesterday. So in Midtown, dozens of Daily News staffers and their supporters picketed outside a small co-working space, the newspaper's office, since its Lower Manhattan newsroom was shuttered in 2020 during the coronavirus pandemic. They marched around the building holding signs that read, "New York needs its hometown paper," and "Aldine to News, drop dead," a reference to the tabloid's famous 1975 headline. They also put up large inflatable rat that has become increasingly familiar at other union protests. So this action that they took, it comes at a tumultuous time in the media industry with an increasing number where they're owned by all these billionaires. This week, Time Magazine and Condé Nast, the publisher of Vogue, Vanity Fair, GQ, and the other marquee magazines, both announced significant job cuts. Staffers at Condé Nast publications went on a one-day strike. So you've got strikes all over the place, all right? And then we also saw last week that the LA Times laid off more than 100 employees, which is more than 20% of the newsroom, with staffers walking out in protest. And they began striking. You also saw Sports Illustrated lay off all of their staff, basically shut their doors. So you've got this kind of reality sinking in the print business, in the news business. And you've got these workers who are fighting tooth and nail to show their value, to say, you need to protect us. We need to continue to have our jobs, and we have to continue to be paid to do what we do. And even though there's no business for this, you need to listen to us. And I feel like it's falling on deaf ears. I mean, you've got consolidation in the market. You've got the fact that national publications outside of maybe the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times are seen as having very little credibility, with so much focus now being on those local publications that are seen to be the most trustworthy. But we have to be realistic here. This kind of mentality of, if you see layoffs happening, especially in these print industries, the response shouldn't be, well, I'm going to go out and strike, because these people are never going to get what they want in this industry that's changing so quickly. They need to look no further than what happened with the studios and the actors. This was last year, and we saw, a 9-month strike? Now, there was resolution, but I think that we're going to continue to see the fallout of the time spent away from that medium. This market is shifting. The market is changing. I mean, we haven't seen the fallout numbers, especially from the film and actor side. I mean, you went for 9 months without producing a movie. You went for 9 months without a nighttime comedy show, right? You see that late night TV is kind of falling off the radar. So it's this out of sight, out of mind. So if these writers think that this is the way forward for them, especially, again, as a time of consolidation, when you see subscription sales falling, I think they're going to be in for a big, big surprise. Last week we also talked about Quad Graphics. They shut down a number of plants, and they're consolidating into, I think, Wisconsin. Yeah, the Sussex plant in Wisconsin. They're going to benefit from the fact that there's shutdowns throughout the country. So I understand that these union contracts exist, but if they hang on too tightly, I just worry that they will have nothing. And I know, again, this is an evolving industry. And where do they go? I can't imagine. I've never been on a picket line. I've worked with unions, and I've worked with industries that have gone on strike. But it's just what I'm seeing now. I'm just really struggling to reconcile, especially in an industry that seems to be kind of slipping away. Last year we also saw this in manufacturing with the auto workers. There is a shift, though, to electric vehicles and robotics. We're seeing plants and shops closing across the country, even though we have this very favorable union contract that was concluded late last year. So this unionization in these print shops, I actually didn't even realize that so many of the writers were unionized. And I just don't think that this is a guarantee for job security, particularly in this industry moving forward. If you want to weigh in, 855-616-1620, that's the WTMJ talk and text line. I think we're all aligned on the fact that journalism is changing. And, I think you see in a lot of ways it's because a lot of journalism has turned to opinion, and a lot of people don't trust the media. I mean, as I sit here today, I hope people know that in my chair, what I'm talking about is not news. This is my opinion. This is kind of my perception of the news, my perspective on what's happening. And again, this is where we invite the discussion. And this is a different type of journalism, right? This is a different type of media. And I don't know if there's more of an appetite for it or not. I think in a divisive time, people probably shy away from taking positions on things. It's kind of like we talked about with our elected leaders. Elected officials are elected leaders. But I think it is an important space to be able to share an opinion and be thoughtful. I do invite the conversation, 855-616-1620. And I know in the first hour, I had a lot of people disagreeing with me. But that's good. We should be able to have that discussion. And we should not fear for repercussion, or if somebody's going to harm you for that opinion. So lots of changes happening at these national publications, seeing a lot of strikes. I don't think these are going to end well for these writers, which is sad because I do respect it as an industry. I do respect journalists. And I was almost one, but I made the switch to public relations. All right, when we come back, speaking of journalism, there is a new bill circulating that would basically allow for protection of free speech. I want to get your input on that, 855-616-1620. We'll discuss, though, when we return. It's 1:17.
Wake up with me. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. Tune in every Monday and Friday at 8:15 for Matzik's Morning Minute during Wisconsin's Morning News. Everything you need to know about all your favorite Wisconsin teams in just 60 seconds.
It's a true test to all of us, but I do believe in the guys in that locker room in terms of the character that we have.
Every Monday and Friday at 8:15 during Wisconsin's Morning News.
Lopez squeezes up a three, rattles another one through. Oh, it's contagious.
Sponsored by Holiday Automotive in Fond du Lac.
Are you curious about QC Kinetics? Let me tell you what we do.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a medical director at QC Kinetics.
We treat people who have joint pain, and we use your body's healing properties, the things that you already have in you, in your blood, to heal your knee pain, your joint pain, your shoulder pain, your back pain. You have everything that you need in you already.
The same natural process that heals a cut on your finger also works inside your body.
And so what we do at QC Kinetics is take those healing properties, concentrate them down from your body, and put them where they need to go. We are the experts in regenerative medicine. That's all we do.
And best of all, there's no surgery, no downtime, or harmful drugs.
This is the future of medicine.
And your consultation is completely free. Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
988 Wisconsin Lifeline. How can I help you?
Share hope, find purpose when you become a 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselor. The 988 Wisconsin Lifeline provides free and confidential support to anyone experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis. Staffed by Family Services, 988 has experienced tremendous growth, and more statewide counselors are needed to answer calls, texts, and chats to the Lifeline. If you want to share hope and find purpose in your next job, apply now. You can work remotely from anywhere in Wisconsin. Training is provided and flexible hours are available. 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselors enjoy competitive compensation and benefits packages. Most importantly, you can share hope and find purpose when you become a 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselor. Apply today at 988lifelinecounselor.org. Family Services is an equal opportunity employer.
Paid for by grants from SAMHSA and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Great to have you with us. Great for me to be with you. I'm always going to struggle with that, Aaron. Am I with you or are you with me? I mean, this is the game we play. All right, just a couple quick texts and then we'll move to the phone. From the 414, journalism is dead. I don't know. I think there is still a place for journalism. We just need good journalism. The number of people saying that the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times have done a good job transitioning. I would agree with that. I'm a Wall Street Journal subscriber, and it always upsets me when I have to log out and log back in. I don't know. That's kind of a glitch that they have here. Also from the 414, I do invite the conversation, but I just keep talking. All right, please text in if you want to weigh in. That is how we have a conversation. All right. Speaking of conversation, Mike in Illinois, you're on WTMJ.
Good afternoon, Tracy. How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm good. You know, there was obviously a strong labor push during COVID. And, in post-COVID, there was, some pretty prominent strikes like the auto workers strike. Companies will find a way to make money. And if you win the battle, you may lose the war because you may get higher wages, but people will get laid off because the companies are there to serve a need, but they're also there to make a profit because if they don't make a profit, they can't grow and move forward. I just think that some of these strikes can end bad because the companies will still have to make money and they will cut labor Perfect example, anyone who goes to a fast food restaurant, during COVID, wages for fast food workers went up dramatically. Well, you go into a fast food place now, and it's becoming more and more automated. They don't have anyone at the counter. You have to call somebody that's, behind where people are cooking to get someone to come to the counter. They'll cut wages. They'll cut labor to save wages, or to save, to make more profit, save money. So I just think that a lot of these strikes, they may win the battle, but they're going to lose the war.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, for the call. I think, and as it pertains to journalism, we've just seen massive consolidation, not just because people are going to all different places for their media, whether it's social media. There was also really, I think, strong indication that local media was much more favored. And this is something that we've seen in our market that is just really just contracted, especially with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel circulation just declining at such a rapid pace. I know at the time when we were discussing this, many have said that stations like WTMJ and news organizations like Good Karma Brands that have kind of a multi-level media presence are the ones that people will continue to go to. So you've got a little bit of news, you've got some opinion to kind of push your thinking and to make you think about a different perspective. I do think that is a good thing. But when it comes to media and when it comes to journalism, I think, again, this is something that can be replaced. It's easily replaced. And that's unfortunate because I think some of our greatest experiences and some of the greatest stories have been told by very, very talented journalists. I mean, it is truly a profession. And I want to give that to any journalist or journalism major out there. I have a 10-year-old who has a very curious mind and a great imagination, and he wants to be a journalist. It's not like he's already sitting there going, I seek the truth, but he likes to write and he's curious. And I think that's what should be driving journalists. And I don't want to say that many have overplayed their hand or it has anything to do necessarily with the politicization, but that certainly is a factor. I think a bigger factor, though, is probably technology. It's probably social media. It's probably the fact that we have become so divided, and we do have the ability to seek information within our individual silos and within our individual channels. So this will be an interesting one to continue to watch. I do suspect, though, that we'll continue to see consolidation. Who knows what's going to happen with the LA Times, what's going to happen with the Chicago media, Forbes. I mean, I never thought I would hear that a publication like Sports Illustrated would go away. I mean, that was mind-blowing news when I saw it. So what's next for these others? We shall see. All right, it's 1:24 right now on WTMJ.
This is WTMJ's Sandy Max with a brand new show called What's on Tap. Weeknights at 6, you're invited to join me to take a deeper dive into culture and creativity here in Wisconsin and around the world. Tap into all kinds of entertainment and recreation with me, from music, theater, film, food, and uniquely Wisconsin traditions and landmarks. So pique your curiosity and join me for What's on Tap. And be sure to catch the podcast on your favorite podcast platform.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Buthan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at adventknows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement.
At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Even when the weather outside is frightful, your energy bill could be much more delightful. Replacing drafty windows and doors can dramatically lower your energy costs. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin's energy-efficient windows keep the cold outside where it belongs. You'll help kick the January blues when you choose to book by the 31st for 0% interest up to 36 months. You heard that right. No interest for up to 36 months if you book by January 31st. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Welcome back. Sometimes those tunes are I just can't talk over the tunes. All right. Welcome back on WTMJ. Crazy that we're talking about this consolidation and changes in the media. We just got news that Spectrum Cable laying off 173 in Milwaukee. This is a media institution. And, when you see these changes and you see this consolidation, it's coming. We also saw this morning that UPS was having mass layoffs as well, something like 12,000 employees just in response to the fact that people are buying less and getting things delivered less. So crazy times. All right, Jeremy and Racine, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. When it comes to media, it's been really clear over, I'd say, about the last 10 years or so, that they have become really more further left in their narratives and their opinions and things like that, to the point where it just turned off a lot of viewers, a lot of readers. It gets exhausting listening to them, and they get obsessed with like Trump and all that over and over, and they're looking for alternative media outlets. And, I listen to podcasts on Spotify with Joe Rogan and things like that. And I walk away from those podcasts a lot more informed and a little bit more, open-minded, so to speak, than when you watch, Fox, CNN, whatever. They're like 5-minute snippets.
Yes.
Then you're 10 minutes commercial. 5-minute snippet, 10 minutes commercial. And you really don't get enough feedback. You don't get enough meat of the story. You just get little sound bites. And that's what they do. They chop up stories with little sound bites, but you're not really getting the full story of what really transpired. And I think people are just getting tired of it and looking for alternatives. Yeah, no, and I'm with you, Jeremy, on those podcasts. I like to listen to straight news. I actually listen to the WSJ Wisconsin Wall Street Journal. They have a great podcast in the morning. I listen to that, get the news. I like to listen to thought leaders. I do like to listen to talk radio and opinion, because it challenges your thinking. And here's the deal. If you're listening and you don't agree with me, like, that's good. And I like to hear from you. That's okay. Like, I'm putting a thought out there. I'm putting something out there for you to respond to. And hopefully it's making you think about things. Or maybe you're listening and you're thinking, oh, God, she's crazy. Or I totally agree with you. And I think that's okay. And, nowadays, especially in news, when it's portrayed as news, a lot of people are getting confused because the news, as it's presented, doesn't seem to match up with their own reality. And again, the injustice is when it's presented as news and it is not. John in Germantown, you're on WTMJ.
Hey, thanks for taking the call.
Yes.
I think to your point, I'm 29. I'm a younger person. And to me, it seems like exactly kind of what you just said. The news or journalism isn't really news or journalism anymore. The Walter Cronkites of the world are gone. It's not just giving you the news. It is, this is what's happening and this is what you should think about it. And I think at a national level, our mainstream networks, I think they've dug themselves in such of a hole because it's clearly an agenda. And this is speaking both sides of the aisle. You can talk CNN or Fox. It goes both ways. But they dig themselves into these holes where people are clearly watching, dossiers come out that are lies, that are so heavily reported on. And I know that's just one example, but it's it's crammed down our throats to the point where it's clearly not even journalism. Let me make my own mind up.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, John, what's interesting is some people will watch both sides, and I truthfully do. I try to scan the papers. I watch both sides, and I try to decipher for myself. But I like to expose myself to all of it, to be able to kind of come to my own conclusion. I often, as you can tell, I lean in one direction on many things, but trying to be level-minded and also just consider it, that there are other points of view. We do have a lot of texts coming through right now, but we don't have time to get to them all. This is a great discussion, a fabulous discussion, and I hope that you'll continue to have it, whether it's with others after the show or with It's Me on this text line, 855-616-1620, and I'll try to get to those. All right, when we come back, we have a special guest with us today, Rick Barrett. He's with Barrett Low Development. He's going to be in studio. You're not going to want to miss this conversation. It's 1:32 right now on WTMJ.
According to the U.S. debt clock, our debt is over $32 trillion and climbing. The question is, how do we pay it off? One of the most likely answers is increasing taxes. Now think about your retirement accounts. Do you want to pay taxes on some of that money now when rates are historically low, or later when rates are potentially higher? At Drake & Associates, we can help you create a plan so your retirement is tax efficient as possible. If you'd like to continue your education, we have our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides on retirement tax savings. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text TAX to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting TAX to 414-409-9982. When taxes go up, will you be ready? Call or text now.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. If you work in the restaurant industry, listen up. The successful Fox & Hounds and Mine Shaft restaurants are hiring friendly, people-oriented servers and bartenders. You will make real money in a fun, fast-paced atmosphere. If you're unhappy or unfulfilled in your current position, the Fox & Hounds or Mine Shaft may be perfect for you. Parents, tell your kids and grandkids. Inquire today, start next week. Visit mineshaftrestaurant.com or foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. Reach out today.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why, through the end of February, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 13 years, Adam has provided more than 2.4 million meals to people in southeastern Wisconsin. And now, the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
Half of my hometown still hanging around, still talking about that one touchdown. They're still wearing red and black. Go Bobcats while the other.
Welcome back on WTMJ. Great discussion. We could have taken that for another half an hour. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone weighing in on the text line here, and continue to weigh in too, because we have a great guest with us today. And this is one that I asked to come on. Boy, this was like 6 weeks ago. It was like right when I heard I was going to be filling it. And so you're like right at the tail end of my time here. So Rick Barrett, he is the president and CEO for Barrett Low Visionary Development. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you for having me.
Turn on the mic. There we go. There, we got it.
Thank you, Tracy, for having me. And I'm very excited to talk about Milwaukee today.
All right. So speaking of Milwaukee, you have probably the most anticipated project happening right now on our skyline, the Couture. So this has been going on for a while now, 10 years?
It's been a while, yeah, but good things take time, Tracy.
Good things take, right. And nothing worthwhile is easy. So the Couture, this is a 44-story mixed-use apartment retail development. What were some of the challenges? Just take us back a little bit from when this first started.
Yeah, so we were able to be part of an RFP process at the lakefront that the county had put out. Competed against some outstanding development companies, and fortunate enough to win the project. And we started designing, and lo and behold, we realized that there was a a battle on our hands with the lake bed issue. So we immediately had to pivot to legal mode to try to help push that through, and talked with the state legislature and the Governor Walker, the city of Milwaukee, County Executive Chris Abele, and all of that pulled together, and we were able to finally, once and for all, define where the lake bed is, where the lakefront is, and where developers are allowed to develop.
Well, and this particular development, for those who don't know, it's at the kind of the end of Michigan and kind of Lincoln Memorial Drive. And it's you can see it if you go down to the lakefront right now. But it used to be the site of the bus terminal for Milwaukee County. There were some challenges associated with that, were there not?
Well, I mean, we had to knock that big building down because it was not useful for the city, the county, the state. And obviously our first and most important goal was to get that property back on the tax rolls. I mean, it wasn't creating any tax base for the city, which, as we all know, is the holy grail to, maintaining cities. And so we were able to get that put together, and, we demoed that building and fought through a little bit of a pandemic.
A little bit.
We had one level of financing partners, going into the pandemic, threw all the cards in the air and came out with a different group. And throughout that process was still able to maintain our relationship with HUD, keep them in the mix on the development, and they handled the $100+ million construction loan. And obviously last week we topped out the building. We obviously have the best workforce in the country, in the Midwest. I mean, the Midwest is obviously known for that. So I'm honored to be here to make sure that I keep driving business to our guys.
Yeah. So how much of the Couture right now is leased up? I mean, you've got a lot of units. We just saw last week that one of the two penthouses that was $11,000 a month is taken.
Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to get both of those penthouses leased over the last couple of weeks. Wow. And so those are both accounted for. And, it's a long process, lease up. It's going to be 12 months of that process. We've got an incredible company managing that. That's based out of Dallas, Texas, Lincoln Property, which is now known as Willowbridge Management. And so one of the biggest three management companies in the world. So from our perspective, we got the right people getting this building full for us.
So you've got a commercial component too, and we just saw that that's being marketed. How close do you think you are to getting that taken care of?
So that's a process where we are trying to make sure that we make all the right decisions. Ideally, everything that we do drives off of the residential and the transit hub that is based at the base of the building. So from our perspective, it's all things that are ancillary or complementary to the residential. And so, some of those things that we're looking at right now are, restaurants, places to have a cocktail, that type of thing, or, high-end hair salons or med spas or some of those type of things. We're curating the exact right mix of retail at the base of that building. It's a sizable amount of square footage. We have 50,000 square feet, over 3 floors, double height space, and we're just wildly excited about making sure we do all the right things down there.
Well, and it's such a great location too. Again, we're talking to Rick Barrett with Barrett Low Development. That the Couture is located near, you've got 833 right there, the U.S. Bank building right there, Northwestern Mutual. You've got all the festival traffic that will be coming through. In addition, the HOP, the Milwaukee Streetcar, also has a station right at the base as well. So you can count on all that traffic to be a contributing factor.
Yeah, I think, that's part of the story here. The transit hub that we built at the base of the building is actually running right through the building. You asked me how I think perhaps we won won the RFP right from the jump, we basically designed a building that had this transit piece spin right through the middle of the building. So that has been a key component to what we're doing here, and we've been trying to nurture both the streetcar and voluntarily pushed the bus rapid transit line into the building as well, which is more regional in its approach. So we're ecstatic about seeing what that can do. I think it helps the story that is transit in this community, and how we can move people from place to place in a better way.
It also helps the story of regionalism, which the BRT solves for. I mean, one of the big reasons that was put into place is to get people from Wauwatosa, from Waukesha County down to downtown, especially Northwestern Mutual, and all the activities that are taking place down there. We did have somebody text in about the potential for a skywalk across Lincoln Memorial Drive. I mean, are you part of any of those ancillary projects or discussions that would, increase the development over there?
Yeah, so that's a great comment, whoever brought that in. But, for years when you came across Lincoln Memorial Drive, it was always this game of Frogger because of so many cars moving so quickly in that region, in that area. And if we do everything the right way and are able to bring in the Gateway Plaza Park that the city and the community wants, we'll be able to actually bring people over the top of Lincoln Memorial Drive, which has become outrageously used now at that location. So the actual volume of cars coming through there has to have tripled or quadrupled in the time that we started building this project.
So any other connection points would actually benefit you and be a reason to bring more traffic over to the Couture and to the transit hub. All right, when we come back, we talked about the Couture. We didn't get to talk about the Moderne, right?
Yeah.
I mean, which is another great project. But you're doing a lot of work out at Southridge and at Mayfair Mall that people might not be talking about. We're going to ask you about that when we return. It's 1:43. We've got Rick Barrett from Barrett Low Development in the studio with us.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngbluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
So, Jason, we're all about same-day repair.
7 days a week.
But that's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Being on call for Capital customers.
Nights, weekends, and holidays.
We should make a bigger deal about it.
What, like same-day repair?
10,080 minutes a week.
That is not catchy, Seth.
No?
How about same-day repair?
168 hours a week.
That may be worse.
Really?
7 days a week is crystal clear.
And still a big deal.
The biggest.
Nobody does it.
That's why I started Capital.
Somebody needed to care.
Capital Cares is not a slogan.
We prove it every day.
Seth, we got a furnace down.
Let's go.
Same day repair.
604,800 seconds a week.
This is why you don't write our ads.
Capital repairs your furnace same day, 7 days a week. Call us today or go online at callcapitalcares.com.
Hi, folks. This is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. With the weather getting colder, our prices get even hotter. And at our showroom, you'll see all the top brands of lighting and ceiling fans, such as Visual Comfort, Monte Carlo, and more. Our new in-store visual technology will allow you to find every light and fan from every major brand. including their price and description. And our prices are always the lowest. I guarantee it. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for Dad and the kids, and our famous free popcorn. BBC is open Monday through Saturday and is located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's and Bachman Furniture, all near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Welcome back on WTMJ. It's 1:47. We are joined in studio by Rick Barrett, President and CEO of Barrett Lowe Visionary Development. We just spent the last 10 minutes talking about the Couture, which topped off last week or the week before 44 stories in downtown Milwaukee. A beautiful, beautiful building. But Rick is more than the Couture. You've got a lot going on in the suburbs where many of our listeners are listening from. Tell us a little bit about that and some of the big projects you've got on your plate.
Yeah, so we started a project in 2015 down in Oak Creek at Drexel Town Square. We built 400 mixed-use Class A apartments, and that has been amazing. We love the project that we've been working on, and we plan to get Phase 3 and Phase 4 with another 400 units done and starting to be constructed by the end of this year. On the side of Greendale, we have taken on the area that Boston Store has been defunct. So we have been working on that for the last couple of years, and that project and that design and working through the REA with the mall. You know, malls are in the process of going through some very difficult times because of retail. And so I'm trying to do everything we can to help with that. And then out in Wauwatosa, we've got a similar story out there except in that case, the mall has been doing quite well. But we needed to help with what's happening at Boston Store out there. So we have 1,000 units out there as well. So, all in all, we've got 2,500 units in play right now, and we should be sleeping well at night.
Wow, that's a lot of units, and especially in a day and age when we're talking about the lack of housing and a lack of opportunity and lack of options for renters and anyone looking for a home. I'm really curious about the town center concept. Drexel Town Square was really kind of the first of its kind. For those who aren't familiar, you've got City Hall right there. You've got a number of restaurants. You've got a whole complex, a library right there. And this is really something that we've seen take off across the region. Tell us a little bit more about what drove that and how you replicated success.
Yeah, that type of concept is, exactly what people want. What they want, Tracy, is walkability. They want to be at a place that they can come home from work, put their car away, walk to restaurants, walk to the library, and, be part of the town square. And, it's kind of like when you think about when people come over to your house, you've got all these great areas of your house that you want to show off, but ultimately everybody congregates in the kitchen, right?
Exactly.
And they do that because everybody wants to be around the action. And I think that's what the town center does. I think what we did down there has been studied from all over the country. We've had so many people coming in. We were just a small part of that. We're 800 apartments down there. There's senior living, there's the restaurants, it's the town square, but just a bunch of developers getting together and doing their best. And I was just a part of that.
That's a great story, and it's been well documented. I want to ask you about this concept at Mayfair Mall, because I'm actually looking at the article and this picture. This is 1,000 apartments that is not only going to contribute, I think, from a density standpoint, but from an economic impact standpoint. Can you talk about what those discussions were like with the city of Wauwatosa and how you overcame maybe some potential hurdles with that project?
Yeah, Wauwatosa is an incredible multifamily market. It's a lot of the places to build out there are limited. So we just feel very fortunate to be part of the process. We started working with Brookfield Properties and the city of Wauwatosa early on, and have been able to nurture this very good relationship, because if you don't have that, you have nothing. And I mean, that's the key tenet in all of the deals we're talking about here. It's this public-private partnership and being able to solve big problems. And we've got the prowess, we got the acumen, we got the skill set to do that. That's kind of what we're known for. So that's a big example of exactly that, with the Boston store not being operable for the last 5 years.
Well, we certainly need to see something there, and this would be extremely, extremely additive. And all the communities that you talked about doing work in, whether it's Greendale, Wauwatosa, Oak Creek, or even the city of Milwaukee, I mean, these are good pro-development partners that you want to work with. The thing that you didn't mention about why it works for you is that you actually have follow-through. I mean, you see a lot of developers put forth these plans, and they even meet with the municipalities, get approvals, and then they just can't follow through. They don't have the financing. You get a pandemic in the middle of the project. And so, that reliability and that follow through, I think, is really important. Rick, you do work throughout the country as well, and you travel to other cities. Tell us why Wisconsin, why Milwaukee, why this area, what makes it so special and unique to do business in?
Yeah, I obviously grew up in Milwaukee here. I went to Nicolay High School. I'm a native. I absolutely love Milwaukee down to the core of my being. And, I love the surrounding areas of it. I want to be a part of the team that makes it great. And, when I started development, mid-90s to today, I mean, things have grown so tremendously. We're sitting here in, the 3rd Street Market area that I just can't believe how amazing this building is and what has happened at the Grand Avenue Mall. I mean, it's this type of stuff that just makes me so proud to be from Milwaukee. And, that's the key piece. There's, if we had projects in other areas, it may not be as meaningful, but being in Milwaukee is a big piece for me.
One of the things that the mayor of Milwaukee talks about is growing that population to 1 million. And I always ask this of developers and of visionaries like yourself. What is it going to take? We're at 600-something thousand right now. 1 million is a big number. You seem to be contributing to that through development of housing. How do we get there?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have some ideas how it could happen, and I have some things that may contribute to it happening. Obviously, I think you've got to get the condo market in downtown Milwaukee. You have people wanting to invest in downtown Milwaukee and Milwaukee itself. I think that could be a key driver. I think there needs to be a task force that goes out and spends every single waking moment on trying to bring more corporate headquarters to downtown Milwaukee. I think that's a key piece. And, and then I think the most important thing is just proper leadership. And obviously mayor and the county exec are both very pro-business, and they're willing to listen to any good idea, because you just don't know where the good idea is coming from. And sometimes you have to change on the fly and figure out a way we can still get this done. And I do believe the mayor's approach with the 1 million population concept, I think it has legs.
That's coming from somebody who knows how to get things done. All right, final question for you. As a developer, obviously we have a lot of economic headwinds. There's a lot of uncertainty in the marketplace. What makes you optimistic, and what gives you hope in terms of commercial real estate and commercial real estate investment?
Yeah, it's been a really difficult, 18 to 24 months. Interest rates have been, really out of line, and hopefully we can tamp that down. I think construction costs have really ballooned, and this may be an opportunity for both of those key pieces to any level of growth to actually be a pressing of a reset button. And hopefully, that does happen here on both of those fronts, because I think with that, you can make projects feasible, you can create growth, and then again, I think there's some key tools that the municipalities and the cities can help to get us through some of these tougher times.
Well, and as you said, anything good is going to take time. So all these things are very worthwhile. Rick Barrett, President and CEO for Barrett Low Visionary Development, thank you so much for your time. And congratulations on all your work. And thank you for your enthusiasm about this state and about this city.
Well, thank you for having me today.
All right, it's 1:56 on WTMJ.
Oh, I'm already running late. Let's go.
There is a backup on I-94 eastbound.
Wait, is that Debbie Lazaga?
Expect delays.
Well, how bad is it?
Alternate routes will help you in your journey.
I feel better.
Get where you need to go calmly with traffic reporter Debbie Lazaga only on News Radio WTMJ.
Follow me on social.
Do you check your savings account and wonder if you're even saving at all? At Town Bank, we view banking differently and actually want to see your savings grow. With our amazing new CD rates, you can now earn even more, so you can sit back and relax. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start earning more. Go to townbank.us/locknewrates or visit a Town Bank branch nearest you today. Bank differently with Town Bank. Member FDIC.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Need to hire quality candidates fast? You need Indeed. Our video interview tool makes it easy and effortless to meet with candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
It's time to make the call. It's time to get that lasting relief you deserve from that awful joint pain in 2024. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik for QC Kinetics. Hey, don't go another year compromising because of that awful pain in your knees or your shoulder. Give a call to QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative, non-surgical pain relief. Now, the best part is your body has what it needs to restore and repair that damaged joint tissue. That means no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. QC Kinetics can make it happen. Hundreds of board-certified QC Kinetics providers have treated tens of thousands of satisfied patients all over America. People with back pain, with hip pain, any pain associated with arthritis or an injury. And it's not a Band-Aid fix. This is revolutionary. It's treatment that can get you moving again and get your life back. Take the first step now. Give a call to QC Kinetics. A free consultation awaits. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474.
The pain was so bad I could barely walk. And now after stem cell treatment, I run marathons.
Now this is an exaggeration, but I do hear about unbelievable miracle outcomes. And I have to ask, do you really believe them? If they were true, these biological treatments wouldn't even have to be advertised. Truth is, stem cell effectiveness is nowhere near 100%. It's expensive, and it doesn't last. At Rejuvenex, our FDA-approved pharmacological treatments ease inflammation and reduce pain. They're precisely administered to where your pain lives, and they work. Will the pain reduction last forever? No. But in some cases, relief has lasted as long as 24 months, and in most cases, insurance has paid for the treatments entirely. This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, where we can alleviate your pain and rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain. Rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Your locally owned hometown station gives you the news and what it means to you. Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
At 2 o'clock, it's cloudy. It's 36 degrees. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 33. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm John Mercure. President Biden has been meeting with his national security team to weigh options on how to respond after 3 service members were killed and dozens hurt in a drone strike at a base in Jordan.
President Biden said Tuesday he has decided how the U.S. will respond to the drone attack in Jordan that killed 3 American soldiers. Asked if he holds Iran responsible for the deaths, the president said,
I do hold them responsible in the sense that they're supplying the weapons to the people who did it.
The president reiterated the U.S. does not want a wider war in the Middle East.
That's not what I'm looking for.
Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
A man accused of stealing 2 police cars will be in court today. 34-year-old Daniel Barton was arrested by Shorewood Police last May for stealing a police squad car. He later admitted to the theft and in December 2022 was arrested by Milwaukee Police for stealing one of their squad cars. Barton is being charged with 2 misdemeanors and a max fine of $10,000 and 9 months of jail time for each theft. A potential new bill to save lives of children not covered by Amber Alerts.
5-year-old Prince McCree didn't qualify for an Amber Alert when he went missing last October because there wasn't enough descriptive information on the case. He was found dead the next morning. Now there's a bipartisan bill circulating the legislature that would expand Silver Alerts to what Amber Alerts don't cover, the Prince Alert. Prince's mom, Jordan Barger, tells TMJ4,
What happened to my baby is tragic, but he'll be here for everybody. So you hear a Prince Alert, that would be amazing. You know, hearing my baby's name over here saving someone else's life.
Julian Johnson, WTMJ News.
Since 2003, there have only been 54 Amber Alerts issued in Wisconsin, but 76 children age 8 or younger go missing in the state every year. We will be joined by one of the bill's sponsors, State Senator LaTanya Johnson, live on Wisconsin's Afternoon News after the 4:30 news. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson says he wants to get rid of the blight before deciding what should replace the former Northridge Mall site. The city now has ownership and the ability to begin the process of tearing down the former mall. Johnson tells WTMJ's Vince Vitrano why the city turned down a developer who had offered to purchase the property last year.
We owe it to the people who live there, who have dealt with this for 20 plus years, to look at what all the possibilities are and not just simply take the first thing that comes up.
Johnson made the comments on Monday during an event hosted by the Walker Media Agency in Milwaukee. And some call it a lost art, but recent high-profile court cases are proving courtroom sketch artists remain necessary.
Cameras aren't always allowed in court. That's when the sketch artist is needed to capture the essence of what's happening in the courtroom.
You're not quite as obliged to make a perfect portrait, but you are to tell the story.
Sketch artist Jim McKiernan of Madison tells Wisconsin's Morning News it's about body language and reaction, and he admits there is pressure to get it right, and in some cases, to embellish.
Oh, heck yeah. The attorneys especially. Can you just fill in the bald spot on the back of my head?
Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
And you can see a courtroom sketch of Eric and Vince Vitrano from Wisconsin's Morning News by texting the word DRAW to the WTMJ Talk and Text line. That's 855-616-1620. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Mixed bag so far. The S&P 500 is up 2 points. The Dow is up 138, and the NASDAQ is off 105 points. It's a great time for your retirement and investment strategy review from a fee-only fiduciary. Go to annexwealth.com. Click the Get Started button today. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Citing Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 2:04. This report sponsored by the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network.
Heart disease won't stop us. Diabetes won't slow us down. Allergies, high blood pressure, shoulder pain, cancer. Nothing will keep us from pushing Wisconsin ahead. Because with the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, forward progress is what we stand for. That means always pushing and always innovating. With new technologies and breakthrough treatments that make life better, whether we're sick or well. It means providing more convenience and more ways to receive medical excellence for all your health needs, for big and small. It means being there for you, our family, caring for yours. So let's keep raising the bar. Let's keep testing the limits of what medicine can do. Let's push ahead and make life here as great as it can be. Visit Freighter.com to find out how.
988 Wisconsin Lifeline. How can I help you?
Share hope, find purpose when you become a 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselor. The 988 Wisconsin Lifeline provides free and confidential support to anyone experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis. Staffed by Family Services, 988 has experienced tremendous growth And more statewide counselors are needed to answer calls, texts, and chats to the Lifeline. If you want to share hope and find purpose in your next job, apply now. You can work remotely from anywhere in Wisconsin. Training is provided and flexible hours are available. 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselors enjoy competitive compensation and benefits packages. Most importantly, you can share hope and find purpose when you become a 988 Wisconsin Lifeline counselor. Apply today at 988lifelinecounselor.org. Family Services is an equal opportunity employer.
Paid for by grants from SAMHSA and the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Time for a WTMJ sports update.
After dominating the Pelicans on Saturday night, the Bucks are back out in the Mile High City tonight to take on the Nuggets. 32-14 Bucks will welcome in Doc Rivers to make his debut as head coach beginning tonight.
We all know what he brings. You know, we heard his voice, him coaching other teams. You know, he's had success, played in this league. He went to school in this city, been around a long time as a coach. You know, he's coached a lot of great players. So I think you would have a hard time thinking of something that he hasn't experienced.
Milwaukee will look to begin their 5-game West Coast road trip tonight with an 8 p.m. tip time in Denver. Super Bowl 58 is all set. The 49ers knocking off the Detroit Lions Sunday 34-31. On the other side, Patrick Mahomes heading back to the Super Bowl after the Chiefs knocked off the Ravens 17-10. It'll be a rematch from 4 years ago. Niners-Chiefs, February 11th from Las Vegas. I'm Brandon Snide, WTMJ Sports.
Time for your Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Pretty quiet as it usually is this time of day. The only delay in a usual spot. I-43 southbound Brown Deer into downtown is just construction traffic. There is a 3-minute delay.
Traffic is sponsored by TaybackAttorneys.com. Veterans benefits denied? Call Tayback for the payback. Brave Americans who served shouldn't be denied benefits or have a disability claim incorrectly evaluated by the VA. If you're one of those vets, call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Tonight, a little mixed precipitation, a low of 35 degrees. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, a high of 44. Thursday, mostly cloudy, a high of 44. Friday, partly cloudy, 38. And on Saturday, looks pretty dry, a high of almost 40 degrees. Right now in Madison, cloudy and 37 degrees. In Green Bay, cloudy and 37 degrees. Waukesha, checking in, cloudy skies and 36 degrees. In Milwaukee, cloudy and 39. I'm John Mercure, Siding Unlimited WTMJ News Time 2:08.
It's the middle of the day on WTMJ. Come join the conversation on the WTMJ Talk and Text line at 855-616-1620. Now, here's Tracy Johnson.
Welcome back. It's 2:08. Great discussion with Rick Barrett, President and CEO for Barrett Low Visionary Development. If you want to check that out on WTMJ Extras, it will be available shortly. If you're joining us on the road, if you're joining us in the office, if you're watching online at WTMJ Watch Live, it's great to have you with us. I always forget how many people are watching and how many people watch throughout the day. So you can check it out streaming. Even though this is streaming, you can check it out after the show airs. And if you want to skip over a topic that you didn't like, or if you want to skip through the breaks, you can totally do that. It's like DVRing this conversation. All right. So I get asked about this a lot, because I work in the real estate space, and I work in the commercial real estate space, not the residential real estate space. So this is kind of an interesting little confluence of, investment real estate, but also residential real estate. And that is the institutional housing issue. So what this is when you have institutional real estate investors, they buy up homes in the market. All right. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on this. And then I have a question for you about if this is a good thing or a bad thing. And if you've been looking for a house and run up against an institutional investor, you're going to know what I'm talking about. So many factors have influenced what we kind of consider an unusual housing market. But the one that affects the housing shortage in particular is institutional real estate investment. Institutional investors have purchased 13.2% of all properties sold, according to data from 2021. According to a 2022 report by the National Association of Realtors. Perhaps more concerning is the fact that they bought these homes for 26% lower than the state median prices during that period. So they're buying up these homes and they're paying less for these homes. That story goes on. These large investment companies are exacerbating the home inventory shortage by buying up the most affordable properties and then renting them out, making it even harder for individuals and families, especially first-time home buyers, to get themselves into a home. Does this sound familiar? So these investors come into the market and they'll buy up not one, not two, sometimes three, sometimes 100 homes in a market, and they'll make a cash offer, right? Because they've got this institutional capital. And then they buy these homes and they rent them out. So this all started in 2008 during the housing crisis. Banks were working with these institutional investors to buy up these homes that people were unable to hang on to. If you recall, a couple decades ago, we were in this very, very serious housing dilemma. And so what do you do with all these homes where people weren't able to pay their mortgages? These institutional investors bought them up. And so now they're renting them out for, $2,000 to $6,000 a month, depending on the house. And, I have conflicting thoughts on rental, right? So it gets you what you want, which is the house and the white picket fence, but you're not able to save. It doesn't allow people to save up money so that they can buy a house. And some people, especially the institutional buyers, are saying, well, people want to rent, right? People want to rent a house. They want to lease their car. This is kind of that rental economy. But is this taking away from the American dream? So what it does is it reduces the amount of supply that's available in the market. It's cutting out these first-time home buyers because these people are able to make a cash offer. Sometimes they buy them sight unseen. And we're seeing this, or we saw this in a very pronounced way, especially in the Sun Belt, in states like Texas and Georgia and Alabama, where people were flocking to during the pandemic and during the 2020 shutdowns. So these institutional buyers saw this as an opportunity, right? They want to have a return on their capital, and what better way to have return than real estate, right? So you've got these buyers that are basically taking up all the inventory. They're restricting the supply, which is driving up the price, especially for these first-time home buyers. And I was watching a piece on 60 Minutes over the weekend that was documenting one of the buyers that was buying up like tens of thousands of units, you guys. I mean, they were just buying houses sight unseen. And the realtors that were interviewed just love it because they don't have to market it. They don't have to do staging. They got the number and they just make the deal, and it's usually cash. And they'll come in with their construction company, fix up the place just like a rental unit. And it's causing a lot of concern. According to that data point I read, 13.2% of all properties sold in 2021 were to institutional real estate investors. But what is this doing to communities? And so there's been some conversation around trying to restrict communities to allow institutional buyers to have a stronghold. I'm not sure how you get this done or how you restrict it, but it's certainly an issue. And especially if you're listening right now and you've run into this, I mean, this is really concerning. Unless, of course, you're somebody who owns a house in one of these neighborhoods. Because even though they bought these properties for less money, they're still driving up the value. You're still driving up the value for these other properties. So overall, it's probably a good thing for the market. Some communities, though, are saying they want to try to curb this. 855-616-1620, that's the WTMJ talk and text line. Should we be trying to stop this? Or do we just have to produce more housing for these first-time home buyers? We had Tom Larson. He's the president and CEO for the Wisconsin Realtors Association. He he brought out some really staggering statistics that suggest in Wisconsin, we have a huge shortage of housing, something like 140,000 units. That's projected by something like 2030 that we need to be able to build and construct all these houses. I don't see this happening. Even though we have a stable or shrinking population, this is of real concern. So are these institutional investors helping or hurting our market? 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. I know there are opinions about this out there because we have talked about housing in the past. But these institutional investors, the bigger they get, if you know what I mean. They've got more cash, more capital, more to churn, more to invest, more to return. 2:16 on WTMJ. My reaction, your response when we return.
WTMJ Now with Steve Scafidi.
We are so absurd with our politics now that there's an opportunity as we speak to at least try to mediate or fix our issues at the border.
Get the latest news. Hear the opinions.
We don't buy into the nonsense that Paul Ryan is a rhino, which is the most overused term, misused term in the history of political terms.
All in Wisconsin.
Little fear is a good thing. Fear punishment for bad behavior.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on WTMJ.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Flimsy, feeble, flaccid. That's how you can describe most pre-approval letters these days. Heck, a lot of big banks issue pre-approval letters using soft credit pulls instead of real credit reports. Do you really want to compete in today's still low inventory market with a soft credit pull and a pre-approval that's silent on 2 of the 3 critical elements of a mortgage approval? A rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet not only verifies your credit with a real credit report, we also verify your income and down payment, and then issue a letter with a $2,000 guarantee to back it up. And now, AccuNet is issuing property-specific pre-approvals that often come with this sweet phrase: no appraisal required. That's right, AccuNet may be able to issue your pre-approval at or above the seller's asking price without needing an appraisal. Today's home market is still a metaphorical knife fight. Your bank is offering you, well, a pocket knife. AccuNet is Crocodile Dundee. Now that's a knife, mate. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Better days start with a better night's sleep on a mattress from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in Milwaukee, our mattresses are custom built to your needs. We have all the comfort and firmness options to give you your best night's rest. Buying direct from our factory showrooms will save you up to 50% compared to national brands. Shop today during our New Year's sale at Ken Michaels Furniture for over 75 years of uncompromising quality, local factory direct saving, and your best night's sleep. Start the new year right with Norwalk Furniture on sale now at Ken Michaels Furniture. Save 35% on showroom pieces that are ready for immediate delivery, or in just 35 days, you can create a look that reflects your unique style with over 850 fabric and leather options and comfort levels, from cuddling to extra firm support. Norwalk Furniture's American roots go back over 102 years. For better quality American-made upholstery, shop the Norwalk Upholstery Sale at any Ken Michaels Furniture locations in Greenfield, Brookfield, or downtown.
Great to be with you on this Tuesday afternoon. We're talking about institutional real estate investors buying up swaths of homes in states across the country. A number of texters said that, Milwaukee has made national news as being dominated by outside investors in cheap single-family homes. And there's now some local nonprofits trying to compete with them to get lower-income first-time buyers a fair opportunity. These investors, what I think is so ironic about this is that years ago, the banks were asking these investors to please take some of these mortgages, to please take some of this burden and help with what could have been an even more disastrous financial cave. And, so they did. I mean, obviously, they've got their eye on the return. They've got their eye on the profitability. But to see now how this is actually kind of harming the market. I know the statistic from 2021 was that 13.2% of the homes sold were to institutional investors. I just pulled up the latest statistic. I can't believe I didn't see this before, but it was something like 20% in 2022. So this is a big issue, or it could be a big issue. And I think especially for those first-time home buyers that aren't even able to have access to the market. They can't even walk into these houses because they're scooped up. And why wouldn't a realtor want to work directly with an institutional buyer? They know they're out there. They know they're going to get cash. They know they don't have to put any sweat equity into it. So we are still, though, in a seller's market, according to the recent Wisconsin Realtors Association data. We are going to see some interest rates coming down, and maybe this will change that market as well in terms of an institutional investor not seeing the potential return that they may have seen a year or 2 or 3 ago. But at the end of the day, these types of initiatives really hurt first-time home buyers, which then hurts a second-time home buyer, because it's well documented that home ownership is the single most important generator of future wealth. And so you've got a lot of frustrated, I think, these first-time home buyers. There is legislation, though. A number of states have been pushing for legislation that would restrict these big companies from buying up homes. It would allow them to only buy up to something like 50 homes. That's a ton of houses. We just saw there's a company called, I think it's called Blackstone. This is one that I think has some holdings here in Milwaukee. The article from January 23rd, 2024, Blackstone just added another 38,000 homes as it buys fellow institutional landlord Tricon. So there's a consolidation happening right now. I mean, think about that. This company had 40,000 homes. In fact, they were featured in that 60-minute article, and they actually had their own service vehicles. They had their own kind of standard layout. It was almost like, an apartment building or a condo. And they would just go around and they'd have their standard finishes, and it just was kind of cookie cutter. But the market is responding to this. And, people are buying it up. And I mean, what are you supposed to do? Short of legislating that you can't have a certain number of houses. They're also looking at trying to curb some of the tax benefit associated with this, because obviously there's a huge benefit. You've got potential churning with a 1031 investment. Here, there's a lot of kind of loopholes, too, that they're trying to potentially stop in order to curb this flood of institutional investors. So I hate to say that it's all a bad thing, because, again, I do see the point when these investors say, these young people, they've got a lot of debt as it is, right? They've got college debt, they've got vehicle debt, they've got, cost of living debt, and they all want a house. And so these investors, what they say is, we're bringing this opportunity to them. If it weren't for our product, they wouldn't be able to realize this. They wouldn't be able to even live in a house like this, in a neighborhood like this. So I think it's a fascinating kind of push and pull that we're dealing with, especially in this day and age where so many people are very comfortable with renting and so many people actually prefer to rent. I don't happen to be one of those people. I'm old school. I like to buy my car. I would rather have a lesser car and be able to pay for it and pay it off. Like the day that you pay that car off, or the day that eventually I'll pay my house off, maybe, that's going to be like the greatest day ever. So interesting. We'll continue to follow this. All right. When we come back, one more real estate story. We follow the commercial real estate company. It's called WeWork. And if you have Netflix or Apple TV, there's been a big documentary about this. Well, WeWorks filed for bankruptcy late last year. Now they're trying to emerge from that, and they're playing hardball. I want to tell you about this story when we return, but right now it's 2:25 on WTMJ.
Got game?
What was the question?
Yeah. We've got game. We've also got...
Swims through his man and lays it in as he knifes his way into the low block.
And...
He'll give to Giannis, and he says, I'll add some more to my tally. Thank you very much.
And who could forget?
Pulls up top of the arc. He got bumped, and he hit the three. Count that, baby, with another one coming.
Catch every Milwaukee Bucks basketball game all season long on your home for the Bucks. 620 WTMJ.
I'm WTMJ's Sandy Max. What makes senior living at Three Pillars so special? It's all about living life how you choose. Take it from my friend Bill at Three Pillars.
I've found all the sociability I need at Three Pillars. We have all kinds of activities. We have a supper club every month, movies, concerts, cards, and especially bridge, which I love to play. And so I am just as content as I can be. I really would recommend it to anybody.
Schedule a tour today at threepillars.org.
With Social Security, the longer you wait, the more money you may get. Deciding when to start taking your Social Security benefits is one of the most important retirement decisions you'll make. Our team of advisors at Drake & Associates can show you the options and help you decide on the best decision for you and your situation. You spent decades paying in, optimize what comes out. Our experienced team can help you squeeze every penny out of your Social Security benefits. I'd love to get you our Retirement Ready Toolkit, which includes guides such as the Social Security decision. To receive this complimentary toolkit, call or text SS to 414-409-9982. That's calling or texting SS to 414-409-9982.
Investment advisory services provided by Drake & Associates, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products are offered through a separate company, Loft Financial Advisory Group, LLC, a Wisconsin insurance agency. Clients are under no obligation to purchase any recommended insurance products.
If you're like me, you always like to add a little something new to the wardrobe. But when money's tight, it makes it harder. And that's why you shop at St. Vincent de Paul for a terrific selection of women's clothing at thrift store prices. Brand names, too, with a selection that's always up to date and looking great. You're going to find something cute at the right price, and you're going to love it. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're going to love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
Somebody with a gassed up truck sitting right outside is ready to roll if you're ready to ride. Sunroof open with the moonlit sky.
All right. Rick Barrett comes in the studio, changes the whole tune. We were rocking before. We had John Mellencamp, we had Huey Lewis, but now we got country. All right, let's ride this to the end of the show. All right. So speaking of real estate, lots of great texters. I'm just going to read a couple of texters because I read the texts, and I appreciate this. From the 262, institutional investors are driving up affordable home prices, hurt lower income homeowners not wanting to move, who get their assessed values raised and thus their taxes, while the investors are the ones truly profiting. Yep. I mean, this is all supply demand. You're absolutely right. From the 414, I live in Greenfield, and talking to a county supervisor, she was telling me that many of the houses are being bought up by Chinese investors. Yes, absolutely. I mean, housing is a great investment, and if you've got cash, and you want to invest it, yeah, I mean, look at housing. So, from the 262, can the institutional investor operate under multiple LLCs? Yes, absolutely. There are always ways around any sort of law or legislation. So, I mean, this would have to be ironclad, especially when you're dealing with profitability and such. So, want to switch gears, one more real estate topic here, because this is what I just love to talk about. So it's no secret that commercial real estate, especially the office real estate market, has been upended as a result of COVID-19 and the shutdowns and what has happened in the cities and with population shifts and all of that. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal that talks about the real estate downturn comes now for America's premier office towers. Now, these office towers are usually leased by the big international companies, national companies, blue chip companies, and that. So the story goes on to say that the highest quality office buildings have had much better success navigating the industry's turmoil. But even the premier towers are starting to wobble. Rents at the highest end buildings have been falling, while the rate of leasing has been slowing. Tenants have become more sensitive to costs in a world of higher interest rates and lingering concerns about a possible economic slowdown. Owners of the most elite buildings escaped this fate for a while, but convincing the market they had created a new class of office tower, one that surpassed the traditional Class A building on the top of the pecking order. So, the story goes on to say that, even those towers in these cities, I mean, Chicago, Milwaukee's a little bit of a different story. But even these towers in these big cities are feeling the hurt. I mean, they're no longer able to hang on to these leases. We've learned that by 2028 there will be something like $2.2 trillion of commercial real estate debt coming due. Now, what that means is that these owners, especially these beautiful glass towers that dot the skylines of Chicago, LA, Boston, all these big cities, and Milwaukee, they are now in a place where they have to refinance their debt. And often they're dealing with different economics or different makeup of their tenant mix, of their tenant makeup, of their lease rates than they were the last time they did their deal. And so they're going to be left with some major decisions. And this is concerning a lot of cities across the country, especially those big cities that haven't seen the type of return to work that we've seen here in Wisconsin. Just the other day, I actually participated in an interview about return to office and what's happening here in Milwaukee. And I would argue in Madison as well, that because we just didn't have the type of disruption that we're seeing in some of the other cities, the coastal cities, we've just seen more return to office. And we see something like 70% of what we had before the pandemic. The other indicator that one of the reporters I was talking to suggested is now we're seeing restaurants that had closed for lunch starting to reopen again in response to the downtown office economy. Just in Milwaukee, and this was news to me, but we see Moe's is going to be open again for lunch. Moe's, if you recall, is on Wisconsin Avenue across from what was the Grand Avenue Mall or 3rd Street Market Hall. So why are they opening now? Well, it's because you've got Fiserv taking tenancy right here at the 3rd Street Market Hall. You've got the expansion of the Baird Center, and so you're going to have that tourism coming through. There's going to be an increase in demand. And then put on top of that the fact that you've got workers who are back in the office, at least that 3 days a week, that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And so these businesses are taking note and saying, hey, we got demand. Let's give the people what they want. All right, I just want to quick, because I teased this. WeWork is this was a huge story that broke at the end of last year. WeWork was a big. They would go around and they would lease space to release to tenants. Okay. And what they did is they would sign these massive leases with office buildings and with landlords, and then they would kind of parse them out and serve as kind of the master leaseholder. Well, they kind of came to their height during the pandemic or right before the pandemic. And with the type of user that they were doing these deals with, they weren't able to maintain those leases. Those leases were all very short term. They were with really small companies. And so they basically, they were left without these leases. And so this company, WeWork, eventually filed for bankruptcy. And one of the terms of the bankruptcy is that they would make good on a number of their leases. Well, they're now playing hardball in cities like Boston and New York. And it's really, I think, a terrible negotiation strategy, and it's eventually going to hurt these cities in the long term. Something like $33 million. They're withholding $33 million in their January rent payment in an effort to strong-arm negotiations with certain landlords. Because, any lease is a contract, right? But there's always a negotiation that happens, especially in times when a tenant can't pay. So this is going to be interesting, and I'm grateful that Milwaukee really doesn't have any exposure to this, because I know before the pandemic, I think they were looking around to try to take up some of the vacant office space, and so we could have been left holding the bag. All right, it's 2:35 on WTMJ. When we come back, Amazon is going to charge you to not see commercials. I want to get your reaction on that when we return. It's 2:35.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Commercial insurance continues to get more complex. Here's Jeff Salasinski, VP of Insurance Operations at R&R Insurance.
Thank you, Vince. You've heard me talk about rising rates for some time. And while those rate increases are slowing, let's talk about something even more important than price. A low price means nothing if you're missing important coverages or are underinsured. The most frequent errors we correct include inadequate limits of insurance for your property, umbrella, and cyber coverages, business income and extra expense coverage that's not calculated correctly. Each of these mistakes can be costly, but are easily avoidable.
So, Jeff, what's the solution?
As a business insurance top 100 firm, our deep industry knowledge and our team of professionals carefully and accurately design insurance programs that protect our clients and their most valuable assets while being competitive on price. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
That's Jeff from R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff.
I'm attorney David Gruber. You've heard our slogan thousands of times, but we are much more than just one call. We are one team, one community, one family, and we're the one law firm that can get you the results and compensation you deserve after a serious accident. Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
Welcome back to the show. It's great to be with you today. I always feel like I have to say that I'm going to do a hard pivot because there is some delay. If you're watching on the WTMJ Watch Live, I think you are a tiny bit delayed from where I am right now. So sometimes I'll be like beyond a topic and I'll get a text. So if you're watching on the YouTube, the stream, just know that sometimes it doesn't match up. So I'm doing a pivot now to a different topic. We are going to move away from commercial real estate. It is a topic that I love to talk about. So hopefully you enjoy some of that as well. I know when I talked to my dad, I said, what do you like hearing about? And he always like, I love hearing about commercial real estate. And you sound so excited about it. And that's because I am. It is a very interesting time to be in this industry and a very interesting time to be part of this industry. So, and in the city and in this community with so much going on. So anyway, right now, hard pivot. Like I said, we're going to talk about Amazon and this Amazon Prime. So like millions and millions and millions of people are Amazon Prime subscribers. I don't actually have that number, but it's like something like 200 million people are Amazon Prime subscribers. Oh yeah, it's 200 million. Wow, that was a really lucky guess. 200 million Prime members globally. And as part of that Prime membership, which is basically $15 a month. I always kind of just do the math and it's like $130 or $129 or something like that. It gets you free shipping on most packages. It gets you a number of other benefits. Well, right now with their Prime Video, which is also included in the Prime membership, they are looking to add on another $3 if you would like to experience the Amazon Prime platform without those commercials. So the notifications went out last month that the Prime Video would soon include commercials unless you pay extra. And so a number of users that were interviewed in this story are saying, you know what? I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm not paying the extra money. This is baloney. I'm not doing it. He said that there is only one way to show them that this is not okay. It's to cancel. So an extra $3 a month. And he's going to cancel. And he doesn't want to see the commercials. You know, I was talking to Aaron about this in the studio, and I was like, is this a thing? Like, what? Are people really going to cancel? Aaron, what do you think? I mean, you're an Amazon Prime member, right? Because 200 million people are Amazon Prime members, and you're definitely one of them.
Yeah, but I'm shortly or soon I'm not going to be anymore, I don't think. I'm going to be canceling mine. Just for me, though, it's more about the shopping side of things. Like, I'm just not an online shopper, and now that we're through the holiday season, just got through my girlfriend's birthday, Valentine's Day is taken care of.
Ooh,
so
okay.
I'm just cutting some loose ends, getting rid of some expenses, really.
So, okay, so if they wouldn't have told you that it was going to cost you an extra $3 to not see video, because you will still have the opportunity to have Prime Video. I mean, was this just a reminder that, oh, yeah, I don't need to pay this?
I'd say so, yeah. Uh-huh. Absolutely. I think that, there's so much to enjoy with Prime Video, but also at the same time, I don't need no commercials, Like I can stand commercials. That's just me. I don't mind a 2-minute break, 3-minute break in the middle of a show. Like I think almost that's necessary, at least for me. I don't know.
I know. When are you going to go get a refill?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here. Commercials have a value.
Exactly. That's how I feel, at least.
Okay, so Amazon Prime is losing Aaron. I mean, is this just like the last straw, or are other people realizing that they just don't need this service? 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. Have these media companies just gotten one step too far? Does this seem like they're taking advantage of you? Does this seem like they're not just taking advantage of you, but expecting that you won't look at your bill and they're just going to charge you more? I believe this, oh man, is this the default? Boy, I should have learned that. But either way, to charge more so that you don't have commercials. I don't know. I'm with you, Aaron. I think a good commercial is good. It's warranted. But not only is Amazon doing this, but companies like Disney, Hulu, Apple, many of them have a commercial version and then they have a non-commercial version. And, it's making subscribers just think a little bit differently. You've got this whole thing going on with price creep. I used to be a Hulu subscriber because it was the only platform at the time that I could get not only the, the TV shows, but the live news. I wanted local live news, and it was the only platform at the time that you could get it. And it was something like $12. It's crazy. It was $12. Now it's like $79. And I once it hit $45, I was like, I'm out. But it's just like this continuous creep. And then you have this whole idea of people kind of saying, oh, wouldn't it be great if we just had one provider, like one place that you could get all your channels? Yeah, that's called cable, right? I mean, it's just crazy what's happening in this market. But would you be willing to pay more to not see a commercial? 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. Amazon right now is going to charge you for it. I mean, don't they have enough money? I don't know. Greg, in the car, you're on WTMJ.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes.
I look at the $3 the way you do.
Yes.
So for an extra 10 cents, I'll get rid of all the commercials I can get just to go on to the next thing.
Okay. I like it. Okay, he's breaking it down. I like how you compartmentalize, Greg.
All right.
I like the way you think. All right. So Greg is in for the $3 a day, the 10 cents a day, $3 a month, the 10 cents a day to be without those Amazon commercials. Let's go for the 262. I have Prime only for the non-video benefits. Since I never watch anything from them, I don't care whether or not they charge for the ads. I bet you they make this a default at some point. I don't know. Just watching how all these companies who have access to my credit card and can just pull out automatically, I just feel like this is a little bit of creep. I don't know. From the 262, no commercials is worth $3. Did the same with Max. If you need a break, hit pause. All right, you caught me. I'm old school. I look at the commercials in a different way. All right, Mike from the Northwest Side, you're on WTMJ.
Hi, good afternoon. My thought is I'm not going to pay for that. These hour shows with 4 or 5 minute commercial breaks, they're actually at 40 minutes if you time it. And what I'll do is I'll put it on pause and start a half hour later and just run through the commercials.
Mike, I agree with you in concept, but what I found is that if you try to do that, it's like they know what you're trying to do. And then when you go back in, they hit you with the commercial right away. It's like they know. But you've got to...
Well, I haven't found that. I just get right back to the show.
All right, Mike, thanks for the call.
You bet.
We've got a number of texters from the I don't know where that's coming from. 262 from the 262 3 times 200 million is a nice chunk of change. Yes, I think they're projecting that something like 150 million people will do this or something. I don't know. This is crazy. So I'm going to have to take a closer look at my bill and find out more. Okay, if you want to weigh in, 855-616-1620. That's the WTMJ talk and text line. We will take those responses when we return. It's 2:45.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Great to be with you on WTMJ. Amazon is going to be charging Prime members extra for ad-free streaming. For some, that is a deal breaker. A couple other schools of thought, and then we'll get to you, Joe, on the phone. Think about this audience, right? You've got 200 million subscribers. And if you are an advertiser looking to reach those people who use Prime Video, okay, that Prime Video is just included in your Amazon Prime. Think about how much money they're paying to Amazon. And a number of texters are saying this. They're saying, don't fight it. Buy Amazon stock. Big money for Amazon. Buy some of their stock. Absolutely. I mean, this is definitely, although that stock is probably really expensive too. Another texter says, from the 920 TMJ radio. We have commercials. Yes. Who do you think keeps the station on the air? I don't know that an ad-free WTMJ is what we want, right? We don't want an ad-free. We love our advertisers. They support us and help us go. I know even on the streaming platform, our advertisers get some love. All right. Joe from Germantown, you're on WTMJ. Are you going to pay the extra $3 to do without the ads?
No, I'm not. I'm fully against that. I think they make enough money as it is. Any streaming service that I have or use, I picked up because I don't want to watch the commercials, and that's the way that whole business, in my opinion, started. Now that you say they're creeping in with higher rates, and then they come back a little while later, and they're going to throw commercials in there and get money for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm against that. It's just too much greed in America, and you can only afford so many services or subscriptions or packages, and that's, it's hard to own anything anymore. You have to lease,
yes.
subscribe, and that's a lot of money out of a household budget. So
it is.
And in your case, somebody mentioned you have commercials. Yeah, but we don't pay you to listen to you, so you have to have commercials. You don't have a subscription type service there. And gladly so. I don't mind commercials on your program, and your program's very well worth listening to. So.
Well, thank you, Joe. I got a lot out of that call. I appreciate the call. And he makes a really good point. If we're already paying for that subscription, why are we paying to have it ad free? I mean, isn't that it's like the confluence of all these different business models, and the reason they get away with it, you guys, is because we let them get away with it. Joe was mentioning all these different services, and I pulled an article. Let me see how. It's from January 29th, and it basically says it outlines all the different media platforms. So you've got the Netflix, the Prime Video, Disney, all of that. It says, like Netflix, for example, the ad-free is $15.49 a month. The ad-supported is $6.99 a month. So you're paying more than double. You've got Prime Video, which now the documentation, the ad-free is $17.98 a month versus the $14.99. Then you've got Hulu, you've got Peacock, total this all up. If you've got all of these online subscriptions, if you want an ad-free, if you want this ad-free, it's going to cost you $115.41. If you're good with the ads, it's going to cost you $69.92. So that's incredible to look at and to think about that we're in this situation and even having this discussion. I remember I grew up without cable TV, right? I grew up with Channel 4, Channel 6, Channel 12, and cable was not a thing. I heard that they didn't have ads on cable. It's so crazy to think about how it is right now. Okay, one quick call. Tom in New Berlin, you're on WTMJ.
Hi. Yes, I have Amazon Prime, and I will not be canceling it because of this. I totally understand that they are having a $3 charge, which I assume they will add as an option, not just default.
Exactly.
Because the advertisers make money with these ads, obviously. I mean, they spend billions of dollars. Look at the Super Bowl commercials. They do make money. They do work. But I don't like to watch commercials. And I was going to say what I do to save money, and I can afford it. I'm a multimillionaire, and I earned it in technology sales, is I pay nothing for TV service. I have an over-the-air antenna, and I get hundreds of channels in, and I have an over-the-air DVR, and then when I tape things that I get through these channels and over the air, I fast forward through the commercials. Why waste your time watching commercials? Yeah. You seem like a very productive person. I don't know why you would want to waste time watching commercials. I mean, if I want to figure out something on a product, I'll look it up on the internet if I don't know about it.
Yeah. So
I can't blame Amazon for doing that. I mean, otherwise they don't make the money if they don't have the advertisers on. They have to make a profit. And I do have Amazon stock too, by the way, since I'm a multimillionaire. I'm in the stock market.
I love it. Tom, thanks for the call. And great perspective too, because, time is money, especially if you want to be productive. So Tom has lots of ways around it. And I think we can all learn from that as well. All right. That is a wrap on Amazon. So we have kind of a divided audience. All right. We are going to go to break, and then we'll have John to tell us on what's up next on Wisconsin's Afternoon News. It's 2:54.
Your weekly Bucks Breakdown is back.
They want to win equally as bad as I do.
Bucks Weekly on WTMJ.